Rawr. And hello there, everyone. Welcome to the den. And to the new game that we are playing, the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Let's get this started, shall we? So, let's see, let's have music, effects, voices on. Good, good, good. So, I have only actually played half of this game. Well, technically, this is 2 games in 1. I have only played the first of the 2 games. I've played a little bit of the first chapter of the second one, but not too much. I haven't even finished that. And I figured, what better way to actually try and get back into it than to actually stream it. So let's see, I want to lower the resolution a bit, just so I can see chat a bit better. Yes. There we go. Excellent. Dun dun dun. Dun 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 dun. So we will start from the beginning.
The Empire of Japan. After opening its doors, a push for cultural transformation brought great waves of Western influence to this far eastern island nation. The revolution washed over the land, making life in the capital exciting and unsettling. It was a period of great change, and some was swept away by the tide.
Ooh. Well then.
But for one man, the turbulence of that era was just the beginning of an extraordinary story.
Oh boy. Episode 1, The Adventure of the Great Departure. Only, hello there, good to see you. How's it going? 22nd of November, 8:43 a.m. Supreme Court of Judicature, Defense Antechamber 5. Or, Defendant's Antechamber. I still can't believe it. I still can't believe this is happening. How can it be that just beyond the doors to this quiet little chamber is the highest court in Japan, waiting to decide my fate? What? Oh, nothing. No, nothing. Save your glares, murderer. Frick. Well, we're off to a great start, aren't we? Sorry. My name is Ryunosuke Naruhodo. I'm a second-year student at the Imperial Yume University. 3 days ago, I somehow found myself in the middle of a horrifying incident. You're doing okay? Enjoying your last day off before you have to go to work again tomorrow? Ooh. Yeah. That's always a thing. Well, hope you enjoy it then. And now, here I am, awaiting my trial. That's enough. That's enough. He's not obliged to listen to such abuse, officer. And who are you? I am this man's lawyer. I'll be defending him today. Lawyer? Yes, and until the judge has given his verdict on the case, no one has the right to treat him as a criminal. So you will hold your tongue. Technicalities. Look at you. You haven't even graduated yet. And yet, I still seem to know better than you how a court officer should behave. Ooh, get him! Right, Ryunosuke? Oh, yes, of course. Sorry. You will enjoy it now that you can watch one. Oh, thank you. What are you apologizing to me for? Oh, No, I suppose that wasn't my fault. But really, Kazuma, I never meant to drag you into this. Speaking of which... There you go again, apologizing. Just like always. Ah. Though I must say, you've been all over the newspapers these past few days. Yume University professor murdered in cold blood by a student. Ooh. But obviously, you didn't actually do it, did you? Of course not! You have to believe me! Oh, thanks for the sub! Holy frick! Oh, that's so nice of you. Oh, thank you only. You have to believe me, I didn't do it! I could never murder someone. Then there's nothing to worry about. Straighten yourself up, hold your head high. You mean... I believe you. I know you're innocent, Ryunosuke. Oh. Kazuma Asogi, my best friend, also in his second year at Yume University. But he's far more clever than I, a star student in fact. He's even a qualified lawyer. Impressive considering he's still an undergraduate. It's not that impressive. Kazuma, are you actually hearing his thoughts? The very concept of lawyers is only a few years old, here in Japan anyway. My qualifications don't mean much. Yet. You said exactly the same thing 3 days ago. But I'm proud to have a friend like you, Kazuma. Truly. 3 days ago. Yes. That's when all this started. Congratulations, Kazuma! Looks like you're going to get to study abroad at last. I know. Been forever dreaming of this day. Finally, those government elites have acknowledged my academic achievements and successes in court. So you'll be representing Japan as you immerse yourself in the most sophisticated legal system in the world. I'm really happy for you, and proud as your friend. There's not a soul in the university who doesn't know Kazuma's name. He's a living legend. It's like there's some mysterious aura billowing around his temple. I want to bring about change in our own legal system. That's why I have to cross the ocean to see the real thing with my own eyes. The heart of the British Empire. I wish I could see it too. Then come with me. Or, I wish I could see it too. Then come with me. We'd have a wild time tearing up the streets of Her Majesty's City of London together. Only it were that simple. Oh dear. Look at the time, I'd better be going. Alright, I'll see you later. I think I'll stay and enjoy this place a while longer. Good idea. After all, it's not every day you get to visit a high-class Western restaurant like this. A legend, like a myth, which means non-existent. Oh no. See you in English class tomorrow then, partner. It was straight after that That's when it happened. Asogi, may I have a word? Dun dun. Professor, I didn't know you were coming. Well, this case has a personal significance to me. But never mind that for now. Asogi? You should go immediately to the judge's chambers. To His Excellency's chambers? Why? He was looking for you before. You advocating for the defense in this trial was a sudden decision. It seems there may be some confusion about procedures today as a result. Is this man? I feel as though I've seen him at university before. I see. I'll go at once then. I shall accompany you. Alright then, Ryunosuke. I'll see you in the courtroom. Yes, thanks, Kazuma. This is awkward. If I may? Yes, sorry? You must be the defendant, Ryunosuke Naruhodo, I believe. Yes, that's right. My name is Yujin Mikotoba. I'm a professor of forensic medicine at Yume University. Ah, Professor Mikotoba. Heard that name from Kazuma before. As I recall, he's been pushing to get the government to agree to Kazuma studying abroad. Asogi has told me about you. You and he are best friends, I understand. As such, I feel you should know. Know what? Well, as you've no doubt heard, Asogi has been granted permission to go study in Great Britain. However, if he should fail to defend you in today's trial, I'm afraid that that permission will be revoked, and never granted again. What? Ah, as I suspected, you were unaware of this. I had a feeling Asogi might have chosen not to tell you. He's agreed to defend me, knowing that if he fails, his dreams will be shattered? But I don't understand. Why would the government do such a thing? The administration has to choose from a large number of applicants for overseas study. It's very difficult to persuade them to grant permission, even in the most favorable of circumstances. I don't believe it. But I didn't do it. I swear it. I'm not a murderer. I'm sure that's true. Nevertheless, I can assure you that proving your innocence will be no easy task. It may be the first trial, but we've been making them very long in the last few Ace Attorney games. You see, there are certain peculiarities about today's trial. The government doing weird, nonsensical things? That would never happen. Sorry? What do you mean? You'll soon understand. Once proceedings get underway. But then what should I do? Well, naturally, I'm not going to suggest doing anything that could lead to a conviction. Right, so as soon as the trial starts, the judge will pose a certain question to the defense. When that happens, you must answer before anyone else. You must say, "I do." I do? Am I getting married or something? But what will the question be? Surely not, Do you accept the accusations brought before you? I just said I wouldn't get you convicted. Of course not. Defendant! Court is about to begin. Proceed to the courtroom at once. It would seem our surreptitious discussions are to be cut short. So allow me to summarize. Azuma Asogi must not be the defense lawyer in this trial. Of course, as the defendant, the final decision is yours. What are you waiting for? Do you want to be found guilty for failing to appear? Get moving. There's no point in anyone advocating for the likes of you anyway. Rude! This is it. If this trial goes badly, Azuma's dreams of studying abroad are over. And what's more, I'll be found guilty of murder. Hopes the trial will be like the one in Chrono Trigger? Oh no. The trials are are one of the main gameplay segments for this whole series, so and so, with absolutely no idea what lay ahead, I embarked on that unforgettable trial. My one and only chance of proving my innocence. The trial that would decide my destiny. The 22nd of November, 9 a.m., Supreme Court of Judicature, Courtroom 2. So this is a courtroom. The Supreme Court of Judicature. No court in the land has more power. I don't much like the look of those people sitting in the public gallery. Lots of military and other uniforms in there. The powers that be have demanded that this be a secret trial. A secret trial? A trial that's closed to ordinary members of the public. Only military and government officials may attend. What? But why? It'll become clear in time. For now. You need to concentrate, Ryunosuke. It's about to begin. Someday you will take your phone and violently smash it against a rock. Oh no. The court will now hear the trial of Ryunosuke Naruhodo. The prosecution is ready, Your Excellency. As is the defense. Before we begin, there is one point of order I would like to confirm. Yesterday evening, the defense made the last-minute request for a change of advocate. That's correct, Your Excellency. I made the request myself. Normal procedure is for the defendant's advocacy to be decided 2 days prior to trial. You suggest trial by bop? Oh no. As this is an unusual circumstance, I am obliged to ask for final confirmation now. Who advocates for the defendant in this trial? This is it. This must be the question. Who's going to defend me? That's the question the professor meant. But then, if I say I do... I need to answer quickly. What should I do? Your Excellency, no confirmation is needed. As I'm standing here beside the defendant, I hope it's clear who will advocate for his defense. What is the meaning of this unruly outburst? I would like to inform the court that I, Ryunosuke Naruhodo, will be defending myself. You'll be... what? What are you playing at, Ryunosuke? Professor Mikotoba told me everything, just now, before the trial. He did what? He said that your dreams of studying abroad would be dashed if you were to lose. How sad. It means you don't have faith in me. You think I won't be able to get you off? No, it's not that, really. It's just that... Well, on the off chance that things don't go well for me, I couldn't bear to be the reason that you... Yes. I knew that's how you'd feel, which is exactly why I decided not to tell you. Professor Mikotoba shouldn't have stuck his nose in. Wait a minute, did that guy bring a sword into the courtroom? Yes, he did! He's not even the first character in this series to have done that. In the second game in the series, one of the characters brought an actual whip into the courtroom, and she used it quite frequently. Judge gets to use the hammer, so we need to have the 1H/ represented too. Hey, Kiss. Rawr, good to see you. How's it going? Very well. The court hereby recognizes the defendant's desire to advocate for himself in today's trial. Well, well. Does the accused admit defeat already? Renouncing his own counsel, really?
Objection!
Make no mistake, counsel. This merely shows that the defendant's innocence is so apparent, he's confident he can speak for himself. I mean, just look at his eyes shifting around like that. The very picture of confidence. Isn't that so, Naruhodo-san? San. Hmm? Oh, yes, exactly! Exactly what I wasn't thinking. I'm not confident at all. In fact, my mind's a complete blank. I realize you're in charge now, but still... A man who represents himself as a fool for a client. Oh no. I realize you're in charge now, but still, try not to look so bewildered. Well, for a mere university student to be brought before the Supreme Court... You must have perpetrated a most heinous crime indeed. That's a great quote indeed. As you are no doubt aware, this is the Supreme Court of Judicature of Japan. Accordingly, the very highest standards of conduct are expected of all present. Do I make myself clear, Defendant Naruhodo? Yes, Your Excellency. It is therefore my duty to assess your competence for the task you have undertaken. My competence? What does that mean? He's questioning your ability to do the job. Well, he can't be questioning it more than I am. So, let's start with the very simplest of questions. Oh, yes. Kindly state before the court the name of the victim in this case. Well, that's easy enough. I've heard his name more times than I'd care to remember. But... wait. Ugh, I'm so nervous I can't even remember that. Ugh, I feel that. What was it again? Ryunosuke. Let me guess. Your mind's gone blank. You know me so well. All the relevant information for this case can be found in the court record. But I can't even find that! It's literally right in front of you. You can access the court record with the press of the E button on the keyboard. This is a tutorial in case you didn't know. If you ever find you've forgotten something, just consult that. It's all in there. Okay, just have to press the E for the court record. Alright, no time to lose. Of course, you can also just click with the mouse. Okay, so this is the list of evidence you've collected. Now try to switching to people instead with E. You'll find details about the victim in here. When you're done, just press Z to go back. Alright, so people of interest in this case so far. Kazuma Asoki, second year at the Imperial Yume University. He's my best friend and despite being a student, a qualified defense lawyer as well. Yujin Mikotoba, a medical school professor at the Imperial Yume University. He's an authority in forensic medicine and Kazuma's mentor. What's an E button? Taketsuchi Ouchi. Yes, his name is actually Ouchi. 51. The lead prosecutor of this case, who would appear to have little love for the changes the cultural reformation has brought about. John H. Wilson, the victim of this case. He was a visiting professor of medicine at Yume University from the British Empire. So, this game actually has a lot of Sherlock Holmes references. This is actually Watson. That's right. Watson is the very first victim in the game. So remember, everything to do with the current case can be found in the court record. Now, you better not keep His Excellency waiting any longer. Go on. And thus his spirit haunted Sherlock and became known as Creepy Watson. Find the victim in the people section of the court record and then present. Who's next? Basil?
Yes.
The victim's name was Dr. John H. Wilson. Well, at least you can remember the name of an esteemed member of your own university. Dr. Wilson was a visiting professor from England invited to Yume University 3 days ago. Indeed, which is the reason why this case has such profound implications. The British Empire is at present our country's most valuable foreign ally. And as most of you will be aware, we have just signed a new treaty together after lengthy negotiations. There can't be anyone who hasn't heard of the Anglo-Japanese Treaty of Friendship and Navigation. And yet, despite these delicate circumstances, the blood of an Englishman has been spilt on our soil. You two are both undergraduates at the Imperial Yume University, are you not? Murdering a professor from the very institution that provides your education. Have you no honor? But I didn't do it. This case is coming under great scrutiny from our allies on the other side of the world. The court therefore wishes for a speedy resolution to this matter. In other words, our feeble government is scared of upsetting England's policymakers. And you're a convenient and expendable scapegoat to blame for this crime. So that's why this trial has these unusual peculiarities of it. Exactly. Our government needs to convict someone as quickly as possible. All because the victim was an Englishman. Yes, Dr. Wilson was an Englishman. But nationalities and treaties won't make any difference for me here. The fact is, I was there at the scene of the crime. Oh dear, look at the time. I'd better be going. Alright, I'll see you later. I think I'll stay and enjoy this place a little longer. Good idea. After all, it's not every day you get to visit a high-class Western restaurant like this. I'll see you in English class tomorrow then, partner. The British Empire. Wow, it's incredible to think... Wait. I've seen that man at university. I'm sure he's a visiting professor from Great Britain. I don't know his name, but still, I should go and say hello. So I went over to the professor's table and introduced myself to Dr. Wilson. Now then, let me pose my next question to you, Defendant Naruhodo. Yes, Your Excellency? How did the Professor of Medicine, Dr. John H. Wilson, lose his life? Well, let's take a look at the court record and post-mortem report. Death occurred a little after 2 p.m. and was caused by a loss of blood from a gunshot to the chest. The bullet did not pass through the victim's body. Yep, that seems to line up there. Single bullet fired at close range, fatal hemorrhage from pectoral ballistic trauma. No exit wound, bullet did not pass through the body. State before the court the cause of death. Cause of death. Well, obviously that was, Ryunosuke. Remember that in court, every assertion must be backed up by evidence. By evidence? But how? Find the piece of evidence that shows you the professor's cause of death and select present.
Yes!
Well... According to this document, the victim suffered a hemorrhagic death due to gunshot trauma. Learn to read, you imbecile. That's the post-mortem report, I take it. Sorry, yes, that's right. The post-mortem report. In the West, a doctor dissects the corpses to identify the cause of death in an autopsy. But here in Japan, a police officer merely inspects the body and draws conclusion that way. It's very inconvenient. Oh, I see. Well, as long as I'm not going to be tested on any of this later. Sorry to say, Ryunosuke, this is absolutely going to be on the test later. You're the main character in a mystery court game, and yeah, this is only the first case. This is a so-called photographic print of the scene of the crime. We can take photos, but we still don't do autopsies. He's a defense lawyer and he doesn't understand how evidence works? Oh no, Ryunosuke isn't actually a defense lawyer. Asogi is, Kazuma. Ryunosuke is just kind of taking the bullet for Kazuma, so that he can, so that Kazuma can go on his trip to Europe. Looked more like Watson took the bullet. You can clearly discern scorch marks around the bullet hole produced by the powder explosion. In other words, we should assume that the victim was shot at close range. Thank you, counsel. The court will accept this modern scientific evidence into the record. So that's a photographic print. Well, that's something I've never seen before. What's the cause of death? Ugliness? Well, if the police officer said so. It's clearly superior to a drawing. The detail is incredible. I don't know, Ryunosuke, have you seen some drawings? You get a really good artist, and you can not tell the difference between between the painting and an actual picture. But this is definitely faster. I believe the victim fell down the ugly tree and suffered blunt force trauma from every branch on the way down. Wow. Very well. I am satisfied with your answers. Let us start the trial. Certainly, Your Excellency. So, without further ado, in order to better appraise the court with the facts of the case, the prosecution hereby calls its first witness, who was there at the scene of the crime when it happened. This is it then. I think I may have worked out what the professor had in mind. The professor? You mean Dr. Mikotoba? Yes. Clearly you're the defense lawyer today, not me. But that doesn't mean... Well, I can still act as your assistant. Ah, of course! When he was speaking with me before, he simply said, Kazuma Asogi must not be the defense lawyer in this trial. He really has been sticking his oar in, hasn't he? Maybe, but any help you can give me would be greatly appreciated, Kazuma. Well, my first piece of advice is, rein in that crazy look of bewilderment and control the cold sweats. Only if you rein in that crazy headband and control the cold stares first. Like, seriously, we're indoors, it's not even windy. How is your headband just flowing in the wind like that when there is no wind? I'm just that cool. Just be glad he's not wearing a cape. No capes. No. Witness, state your name and occupation for the court, please. Of course. My name is Satoru Hosonaga. I'm the head waiter at a Western-style restaurant called La Carnival. You might want to get that looked at, sir. Are you alright? You seem to be coughing up some, It's a regular occurrence. It really doesn't bother me. Well, it really, really should. That can't be helpful for you. You're not gonna just suddenly fall down on the floor dead in front of us, right? Because that would really disrupt court proceedings, and we don't need that right now. As everyone knows, the capital's southeastern quarter was developed for foreign visitors some year ago. Oh no! It's become a very fashionable district now, full of hotels to accommodate overseas guests. He'll get over it. This grim crime occurred in one of the district's so-called restaurants, an occasional eatery, 3 days ago. We know what a restaurant is, you idiot. Understood, Hosonaga-san. You will kindly tell the court everything you can about the incident. At once, sir. And no petty interjections from the aspiring lawyer boy, please. Oh, perspiring maybe, but aspiring? It was just after 2 p.m. on the day in question. We have few diners at that time of day. The lunchtime rush was over and there were only 3 tables still occupied. That fits in with my memory of it too. There was hardly anyone else in the place. It was when I was in the kitchen, putting away crockery and cutlery, a gunshot rang out. So I hurried out to the dining area to see what had happened. I found the victim, an English gentleman, slumped in his chair. And standing immediately beside him, gun in hand, Was the accused university student?
Yes!
Seems like a pretty open and shut case. Hold on, let me just clarify something here. While I did pick up a gun that I found lying on the floor beside the professor, I didn't shoot him.
Objection!
I believe I asked you to refrain from petty interjections. I'm telling the truth, is that really petty? The court wishes to listen to the witness's report of what he saw, you amateur. But the next time you interrupt in an inappropriate time, you will be penalized, Defendant Haruhodo. Frick. Don't worry, Ryunosuke. You'll have your chance to fight back. Just wait till the opportune moment. For now, we must just quietly listen to the witness. If I may confirm one point, waiter. Standing beside the victim with a gun in his hand was the same man we see here in court today? Yes, without question. I see. And apart from the accused, was there anyone else standing beside the victim? No. There was no one else around the table but the deceased Englishman and the university student. Huh? Wait. What did he just say? There was no one else around that table? What's the matter, Ryunosuke? It's just not right. When I went over to Dr. Wilson to say hello, there was a woman sitting opposite him at his table. Really? And that's not something the waiter could have missed. I've been warned about interjecting, but still, what should I do? Let's wait and see. If there is no one else around, who was the witness? I desperately want to say something, but I was told not to interject. Ryunosuke, if your parents tell you to study, you're the kind of man who would diligently get to work, aren't you? I suppose I am. I'd never have gotten into Yume University otherwise. But you can't just always follow the rules in life, you know? If you don't say what you want to say right now, you'll seriously regret it when you're found guilty. Alright, you've scared me. I won't forget that piece of advice in a hurry. And there is something I want to say. I'm just going to shut my eyes and say it. Kazuma, if I get a frickin' penalty for this...
Yes!
Just a moment, please. Dr. Wilson wasn't alone that day. I'm sure of it. There was a lady sitting with him at the same table.
Objection!
Dear me. What are we going to do with you? With your blatant disregard for court proceedings, I'm beginning to wonder if you're not a fraud. Could it be that the accused, this mere student, is not a real lawyer after all? But I'm sure of what I say. Hosonaga-san, is there any chance you're mistaken? Perhaps your memory of events is hazy? No. The deceased gentleman came to dine alone. I don't believe it. I actually have a rough plan of the restaurant as it was that day. Please, have a look if you'd like to. Let me see... sketch of the establishment's layout drawn by yourself, I presume. That's right. I'm afraid I used the back of my business card. It was a turbulent situation. However, as you can see, the gentleman in question was seated alone. You really can't tell the details there. All there is a bunch of seats and an X. Was he bleeding before? Yes, he's been... well, you're clearly a very conscientious waiter. Thank you, sir. The court will take this plan and add it to the court record as evidence. Oh, well... Ah, yes, here's a drawing I made. You can also see this angry stick figure firing a gun. Oh, well, is there a problem? Hand the plan to the court officer at once. Of course. Here you are. Seems pretty suspicious. What was that about? He's been completely calm and collected until now. Something seems to have shaken him. He's coughing way more violently than he did before. So, the court has now heard a precis of the case. I had no idea if I pronounced that correctly. Words are hard. So I am absolutely going to check out this piece of evidence. The head waiter's business card, a sketch of the restaurant's layout is on the back. Okay. Google says it's pronounced like Précis. Oh, okay. Thank you. It's not letting me check the other side. Okay, so the court has now heard a précis of the case. Yes, at the moment the gunshot was heard in the restaurant, the only person in close proximity to the victim was the defendant on trial today. It would seem we were looking at a black and white case here. Defendant Naruhodo? Yes, Your Excellency? If you admit your guilt at this stage, the court is willing to look mercifully upon you. In other words, you may have some small reprieve in terms of your inevitable punishment. I called this waiter as an unsworn witness in order to explain the details of the case to the court. Unsworn, doesn't that mean that he could easily lie? But I must warn the defense. If you are determined to pursue matters further in this trial, the prosecution has decisive evidence from sworn witnesses who were present at the scene of the crime. If they were present at the scene of the crime, then that would be very weird. What do you think I should do, Kazuma? What do you mean? Well, I'm going to be found guilty one way or another, it seems. Wouldn't it be sensible to plead guilty at this stage and hope for a more lenient sentence? Everyone keeps telling me that this trial is unusual, about these peculiarities. Careful, he may elect to call them. You've said it, Professor Mikotoba said it, and so has the judge and the prosecution. I'm scared of what lies ahead if I push this. As I said from the outset, I believe you're innocent. I trust you. And yet, despite knowing that, you're so willing now to throw that trust back in my face? Is that it? What? If the accused is in fact innocent, then a defense lawyer is duty-bound to prove that innocence by whatever means necessary. Are you just going to abandon that duty? Are you going to give up on yourself? The battle hasn't even begun yet, Ryunosuke. The only evidence you've even presented so far is part of the tutorial. Come on, man, don't give up on yourself that quickly. The defense pleads not guilty, Your Excellency. We invite the prosecution to stop making empty threats and bring out its witnesses. Then we'll see just how decisive this evidence really is. Indeed. Prosecutor Auchi, please consider with proceedings. Well, you were warned. The young can be so reckless. You know, many call me a saint, but I can be a devil when I want to be. I see nothing saint-like about you, sir. The battle hasn't even begun yet. Look at his sword. Yep. In a few short moments from now, that dumbstruck young mouth of yours will be silenced forever. The prosecution calls its next witnesses. Very well. Officer, bring forth the witnesses at once. Witnesses, kindly state your names and occupations for the court. Yes, sir. The great Nippon Imperial Army Sergeant Yes, no, sir. Reporting for duty, sir. And yes, that is absolutely a pun. Yes, sir, no, sir. Myself, I find employ as a purveyor of fine articles of antiquity from the efflorescence of our nation, and conduct my trade from Rasute, humble premises in the 2nd District, Curio Correcta, at your service. An antique dealer and a soldier? What an unusual pairing. Both of these gentlemen were present at the restaurant on the day in question. They must be the diners at the other table that the waiter mentioned. Myself, I habitually take tea of the most exquisite aroma at the establishment in question, always post-noon. And not infrequently converse with interested parties regarding the curios with which I make my business. I can't understand a word that old man is saying. He's an antique dealer, and it sounds like he's a regular at La Carnival. He seeks out potential customers who may have an interest in antiques and tries to sell his wares to them. He obviously targets La Carnival because it's a high-class restaurant with a rich clientele. Right, I see. Although, to be honest, that sergeant looks more like he'd be a seller rather than a buyer. Now, you've both witnessed the precise moment of this most atrocious incident. Is that correct? Affirmative. The enemy unit was seen attacking the foreigner in what can only be described as an act of war, sir. It was that black uniformed rogue infantryman over there who unloaded his firearms, sir. This man's as impossible to understand as the other. But I'm almost sure I heard a strange noise during that last thing he said. So, this is the decisive evidence the prosecution was threatening? The soldier is claiming that he actually saw the precise moment you shot the victim dead. Yes. Well, are you starting to feel uncomfortable? If I'm honest, I was feeling uncomfortable from the start. Yeah, the shifty eyes and the sweating didn't clue me off to that at all. Now the court will hear your formal testimony, please. You will state everything you saw at the precise moment that the incident occurred. Sir, yes, sir. Standing by, ready to report, sir. Yep, definitely heard something that time. Unsavory memories of a most acerbic afternoon. What the witnesses saw. The first testimony, about an hour in. I was ingesting a regulation beefsteak at the restaurant while having a tactical discussion with the old man. Myself, I was extolling the virtues of a particularly fine golden curio to the military gentleman. At that precise moment, a firearm was discharged. I observed the enemy's actions with my own eyes. The black uniformed varsity cadet fired on the English civilian, and from the back the cowardly little weasel. Sir? Please, explain to me how this photographic print shows that he was shot from the back, because that clearly is the front. And we know from the post-mortem report that there was no exit wound. I was on my hands and knees investigating the whereabouts of my mysteriously absconded precious curio. Well, so you, Sergeant Nosa, actually witnessed the vital moment. You saw the split second when the defendant fired the weapon at the victim. Yes, sir. Affirmative, sir. That wicked university cadet, sir. The cruel and unforgivable enemy. What times we live in when an English gentleman may be assailed in the broad light of day. But this is ridiculous. I didn't shoot anyone. Is that really true, Ryunosuke? Yes, all I did was pick up the gun that I saw lying on the floor. That was probably a very bad idea on my part, but what's done is done. After I'd said hello to Dr. Wilson, I went back to my table and sat drinking some coffee. Then, when I'd finished, I got up from my seat to leave the restaurant. When I noticed an English-made gun next to the chair where the professor was sitting. I thought perhaps the professor had dropped it, so I bent down, and just as I was picking it up, well, if that's the truth, there's obviously a criminal on the scene somewhere. And somewhere in these two witnesses' testimonies, there's a clue as to who that criminal was. There is? Ryunosuke, you must exercise your right to cross-examine the witnesses. Cross-examine? Do it now. As we have heard, Your Excellency, there is no room for doubt in the testimony of these witnesses. The defendant is clearly guilty. It is time to bring this despicable student to justice. Certainly. The testimony the court has just heard eliminates any vestiges of doubt. Is no one seeing this contradiction that I am? Therefore, it is my grave duty to declare the verdict of this trial. Like, guys, seriously! You're the ones who gave me this evidence! What in the name of the Emperor is the meaning of this outburst? The defense demand this right to cross-examination. Dear me, dear me. Let me guess. The Hachimaki headband boy next door told me to do it? How pathetic. Sir. If the defense is not allowed to cross-examine the witness, then what is the point of even having a defense? Huh? How did he know? The prosecution objects. This is a clear waste of time. The defendant obviously has no experience. How can he possibly carry out a cross-examination?
Objection!
He should be fined for his patronizing behavior. Welcome to Ace Attorney. Most of the prosecutors are like this. The defense is asserting its right to a cross-examination. Whether or not you think he's capable of it is irrelevant. Ozma is so commanding. Very well. Let the defense conduct a cross-examination of the witnesses. Alright, this is where the battle really begins, Ryunosuke. But I don't even know what I have to do in a cross-examination. Isn't it obvious? You have to expose the lies in the witnesses' statements. How? You didn't fire the gun, which means what that soldier said has to be a lie. Well, yes, but it's just a case of proving it. And the key to doing that is evidence. Right, evidence. All you need to do is prevent some decisive and indisputable evidence that proves the witness is lying. Now let's go, Ryunosuke. Don't let them beat you. Alright then. It's all or nothing. Okay, so let's go to this this third statement here. Precise moment the firearm was discharged. Observe the enemy's action with your own eyes. The black uniformed varsity cadet fired on the English civilian, and from the back, cowardly little weasel. Yeah, about that. Takes out the bop hammer.
Yes!
What are you playing at, cadet? What is the meaning of this subordination? Thrusting some photographic print in my mustache. Inconsistency, sir. I mean, yes. There's a clear inconsistency here. What nonsense. What can this print possibly tell us we don't already know? I know Ryunosuke hasn't explained it yet, but sir, is it not clearly obvious? Well, obviously, that, I know what I want to say, but the words just won't come out of my mouth. I think this proves beyond any doubt, Your Excellency, that there is no place for an amateur student here in this grand courtroom. This is so frustrating. Oh, please. Surely this doesn't require an explanation. It couldn't be more plain. To spell it out would be an insult to the court. The fact that you're not obviously seeing what is right there in front of you is a clear contradiction is just baffling. Kazuma, what? What are you talking about? It is apparent from a single glance at the photographic print presented by the defense that there is a clear discrepancy here with the sergeant's statement. What? Sergeant Yasunosa? Yes, sir, what? What, sir? The statement you just made was this. The black uniformed varsity cadet fired on the English civilian, and from the back, the cowardly little weasel. Yes, sir. Affirmative, sir. I witnessed the crime with my own military-grade eyes, sir.
Yes!
But no, that just can't be. And why not, cadet? Because... Take a close look at the print. You shouldn't even need a close look, but I'll explain it to you anyway. I'll use small words. The victim, Dr. Wilson, died from a bullet wound to the chest. Does this look like his back to you? Unless he somehow wears his suit backwards. And even then, his nose is clearly visible in this photo. Ah. Sergeant, according to your witness statement, the culprit shot the victim from behind. And that is the obvious discrepancy here. Well, how do you explain it? Sir, did you bring your baby to court with you? What the... What was that? Something just popped up from behind his back, but he pushed it down again. Certainly, there is a clear discrepancy with the facts here. Would you not agree, Sergeant Nosa? No wonder the protagonist wins. Wins every case. Everyone is a frickin' moron. Yes, sir. At this juncture, that would appear to be indisputable. Until the moment I heard the firearm discharge, my eyes were... on your baby. Firmly fixed on the delicious La Carnival steaks, sir. What? The last testimony the court heard has proven one thing beyond all reasonable doubt. This witness, Sergeant Yesanosa, did not see the defendant firing the gun at all. That's absurd. I think the conclusion we must draw is simple. There is no place for an amateur prosecutor here in this grand courtroom. Seriously, you presented a case as flimsy as that? There's been a complete turnabout in the mood of this trial, just from that one discrepancy. So this is what being an ace attorney is all about. Shots fired. Oh, I guess. But I definitely saw him. That university cadet there. He was pointing the firearm directly at the victim's back. But I never fired the gun. All I did was pick it up off the floor. And you, old man, you didn't see the moment the victim was shot either? Myself, I have already been quite clear. The gunshot interested me not. I was far too busy on the floor. Sir? You're telling me that you hear a loud banging noise, the sound of a gunshot, and you're more concerned with what is on the floor? That doesn't... I know that Ace Attorney characters here tend to be very quirky and weird, but that is a very strange reaction. Too busy on the floor? Sorry, what were you doing? Hunting for treasure. In a restaurant. What? I mean, I like shinies as much as the next person, but what? Treasure? Indeed, the Huayera Koban, my prized coin. On each occasion when I visit that restaurant, It is my habitude to place in my bosom pocket a particular trinket of interest from my shop, Rasute. Why is he even here? He is not a witness. In the hope of meeting a rich diner who might like to buy it from you? On the day under scrutiny, it was up to the military man that I proffered my Hawaii treasure. Believed that he would purchase such a rare find, I did not, but I was presented with little alternative. And then, after averting my eyes for the briefest of moments, it was no more. It simply vanished. The koban vanished? Hunting around under the table, I was, in case mayhap it had fallen there, and then it had happened. You heard the gunshot, you mean? Indeed I did, but I heeded it not, for I was concerned only with finding my absconded Hawaii treasure. Nothing could distract me. Out of interest, did you find the coin in the end? No. I see. That lamentable day, the precious Hawaii koban was lost to me. No doubt, some unscrupulous scoundrel pocketed the prize coin for himself. You wouldn't happen to know anything about that. We were sitting at the same table, after all. I have no idea what you're talking about, sir. As I am sure everyone present is aware, this case demands a swift and decisive resolution. Our government has promised to send a full report to Great Britain by telegraph this very afternoon. This very afternoon. Okay, I'm sure that not even speedy trials go by that quickly. Nevertheless, the witness testimony the court has just heard was inconclusive. No matter how subservient our government feels it must be to the British, it would be unforgivable to deliver a verdict on this trial right now. What is your position, Prosecutor Auchi? Worry not, Your Excellency. The defendant may have fled a tiger at the front gate, but he will not find a wolf in the back. But he will find a wolf at the back. What? Unless the defendant is an absolute moron. My witnesses has further testimony to make. Explain. Upon hearing their next statements, it will become abundantly clear that there is only one person who could possibly have committed this despicable crime. The equally despicable defendant, Ryunosuke Naruhodo. What? He really seems to have a despicable opinion of you, doesn't he? Very well. The court invites the witnesses to testify again. You will thoroughly explain the reasoning behind the prosecution's allegation. Is that clear? As clear as Kiriko glass, Your Excellency. Yes, sir. At once, sir. Awaiting signal to testify, sir. Excuse me, but there's something or someone peeking out over your shoulder, I think. Affirmative. The newest member of the Nosa family to rise up through the ranks, sir. Name, Ido. Ido Nosa. It would seem those straps are a sign of the sergeant being too strapped to afford a nanny. Ido Tenin-shun! Your father is about to quell the enemy! Watch and learn, my boy. These puns. Welcome to Ace Attorney. The true culprit. Even if what I saw wasn't the precise moment the firearm was discharged, it's almost the same thing. Yes, pointing his gun at the foreign man he was, that young lad in black, that much myself I did see. Furthermore, a visual search of the premises at the time confirmed that we were the only personnel present. Indeed, alone he was, the Englishman, dining all by himself. Therefore, no one other than the black uniformed cadet could have dispatched the Englishman. Over and out. These testimonies are certainly compelling. Wait, that's nonsense! The victim, Dr. Wilson, wasn't alone at all. Please, enough of these outbursts already. But there was a woman! There was a young woman at his table! You must have seen her. Everyone there must have seen her.
Objection!
If you call yourself a lawyer, then you will respect the rules of the court and speak accordingly. We are not here to listen to your fantasies. It is evident beyond all reasonable doubt that the victim was alone at the time of the incident. The prosecution has photographic evidence of this fact. Is this a photographic print of the scene of the crime, counsel? Indeed. Of the table at which the victim was dining, taken by an investigator immediately after the incident, as can plainly be seen, there is only one place set. Certainly, based on the appearance of this print. It would be reasonable to conclude that the victim was not in the company of anyone else. This doesn't make any sense. The court will add this new photographic evidence to the record. It looks like he took a big bite out of the steak. Indeed. You, sir, have no right to talk about appropriate behavior in court. I don't understand. What's going on here? Just pick it up and chomp. It's just not possible that nobody else saw that woman. The waiter before said the same thing. He maintains that Dr. Wilson came to the restaurant alone as well. That's not true. I saw her. I swear that I saw a woman with him. It would seem that we're able to telegraph the report to Great Britain on time after all. The witness testimonies we have just heard leave no further room for doubt. These are very sensitive political times, as we all know. The ink is still fresh on the treaty with Great Britain. To think that I, Takatsuchi Aochi, will have contributed to the amity of those two great empires is an honor. How can this be happening? The judge is ready to rule. Stand tall, Ryunosuke. It's not over yet. What? If what you say is true, then there's something going on here behind the scenes. And now is your chance to expose it, to draw out the truth in your cross-examination. I don't know, Kazuma. The defense is entitled to cross-examine the witnesses, but make it quick, understood? Okay, I'll draw it out as long as possible. Let's press every statement twice. No. Rules can be so unbending at times. Ugh. Even if what I saw wasn't the precise moment the firearm was discharged, it's almost the same thing.
Yes.
No, it is not the same thing at all. For a start, I didn't fire that gun. Yes, take your time. We have a difference of opinion on that. The opinion of A uniformed officer versus that of a fledgling cadet. I don't think so. Consider this, defendant. Just a moment ago, I blinked. Did you? Even if I didn't see you shoot him, that's still the same as seeing you shoot him. Yes. Did you see it? Did you see me blink? Well, I don't know how we can see anything regarding your eyes, considering your glasses are constantly doing that thing that obscures everyone's view of your eyes. How could I? And yet, it is an undeniable fact that I did blink. So there you have it. Have what? Attention! The sound of the firearm rang in my ears, and the very next moment, I saw you waving the gun at the Englishman. I think that says it all, don't you? And let us not forget that the antiques dealer witnessed the accused in this most incriminating position as well. Isn't that so, correct, son? Yes, pointing his gun at the foreign man, he was that young lad in black, that much I myself did see. See, this is why you never pick up a potential murder weapon. Don't touch the scene.
Yes!
Yes, it may be true that I was holding the gun at that point in time. But I told you already, that's only because I'd picked it up off the floor. Well, obviously, as the culprit, that's the only way you could explain it away. I had just finished drinking my coffee, and I was about to leave the restaurant when I noticed a gun on the floor at Dr. Wilson's feet, so I picked it up. And at exactly that moment, a gunshot rang in my ears. And my ears are still ringing right now, 3 days later. I should probably get that checked out. Full of events beyond our control, life is. Sorry? What do you mean? In your case, you found a pistol on the floor and picked it up, which precipitated this testing predicament. Whereas, conversely, I failed to pick up the Koban from the floor and find myself in an equally testing predicament as a result. Anyway, the fact remains, myself, I did see you, with a pistol in hand, standing over the foreigner. Furthermore, a visual search of the premises at the time confirmed that we were the only personnel present.
Yes!
You must have noticed someone else at Dr. Wilson's table. There was a lady there.
Attention!
As you have been at pains to point out time and again, I feel I am growing a callus in my ear. And yet, no one else appears to have caught even a glimpse of this woman. Only there'd been more people dining there at the time, then someone else would have noticed her. Unfortunately, it was already past 2 p.m. when it happened, the quiet time between lunch and dinner at any restaurant. I know. Of course the place was almost empty. It's what you'd expect. Certainly, 2 p.m. is neither here nor there in terms of a time to eat. I wonder if there was a reason why the victim was eating at that time of day, and why he was alone. Yes, Your Excellency, there was indeed a reason. There was? This was found in the victim's jacket pocket. What is that, Counsel? It is a medical report card, Your Excellency. It would seem that the victim had an appointment at a clinic prior to visiting the restaurant. Hada Clinic? Yes, that would appear to be an entry for the date in question. 19th November, noon to past 1 p.m. The very day of the incident. So, the victim went for a late lunch following his appointment. The explanation couldn't be more simple. You can't just bring in evidence. Yes, you can! This is Ace Attorney, dang it! That's how it always is in these games. There's a reason that there's a meme for the first Ace Attorney game. Oh, that's like the first Edgeworth, the prosecutor of that game, saying, "That's a nice piece of evidence you have there. It would be a shame if I updated the autopsy report." Your Honor, I just drew this picture showing there was a woman sitting at his table. This is hard evidence now, just like the waiters. The prosecution felt no need to submit this evidence. Whatever, screw the law. The prosecution felt no need to submit this evidence before, as it really has no bearing on this case. Really, something involving the victim has no bearing on this case. Sure. Additionally, you can see the woman is actually the prosecutor in a wig. I wonder, what do you think, Ryunosuke? Well, it's hard to see how it could be related, really. Remember, you can request for it to be entered into the court record as evidence if you think it could be useful. Yes, I think we need more details on this.
Yes!
If I may, I'd like to ask for that medical report card to be submitted as evidence, Your Excellency. On what grounds? Well, if there's any problems with if there is anything regarding the victim there that could change the information that we have. I mean, he just got back from a doctor's appointment. Why was he at the doctor? Did he have a clean bill of health? Anything that could add to what we already have here. The court has already heard conclusive witness testimony. Additional evidence would be extraneous. Not to mention that the victim's movements prior to his arrival at the restaurant are of no concern. The doctor diagnosed him with a gunshot wound over an hour before he was shot.
Objection!
Whether or not they are of concern they are of concern is up to us to decide. We have a right to explore all possible avenues. I beg your pardon? You have no authority to refuse a perfectly valid request for the submission of evidence. Very well. The court will grant the defense's request. Youngsters these days are forever asserting their rights. This is a most disturbing trend. Not gonna touch that with a 45.5-foot pole. Officer, kindly add the victim's medical report card to the court record. Ouchie, sweating bullets. What we need right now is new clues. Yep, I'm absolutely going to take a look at this thing. Medical report card from Hada Clinic that was found in the victim's... Oh, it's not going to let me fully examine it? Gonna have to wait for it to prompt me to do so? We have to explore things from every possible angle, even if they don't seem relevant at first. Right, I hear you. You can conspire to prolong this trial as much as you like, but it's the day after the festival already for you. Or perhaps you'd forgotten that these witness testimonies leave no room for doubt. Feel free to reiterate for the accused, Correcto-san. Ah. Okay, Excellent work, Ryunosuke. We've gleaned some new information now. Well, yes, but I don't feel like it changes much. I can't see that it brings any real discrepancies to light. I wouldn't be so sure. Ryunosuke, please, if we ask for something to be submitted into evidence, we need to actually check the thing that has been submitted thoroughly. Let me see that medical report card you got before. Oh, you mean this? Yes. This is a brand new piece of evidence, so perhaps we should examine it in a little more detail. How exactly? Ryunosuke, please. You'll notice that some pieces of evidence bear a magnifying glass. These are ones that you may examine. The witnesses have been proven wrong on more than one occasion. There's a lot of room for doubt. Take a look. To rotate the evidence in all directions and examine it from all angles. By using Wasad, you can move the crosshairs around to hunt for clues that may have been missed before. If the crosshairs start to pulsate, press space to investigate further. So, partner, I think you should take a closer look at this medical report card. See if there isn't something new to be learned by examining it in more detail. Alright, I'll see what I can do. Need to use the arrow keys, Wasad, and space to inspect any areas, or I could just use the mouse. Oh. Okay, this is actually a little bit more complicated. Okay. Dentist, huh? Looks like this medical report card was first issued quite some time ago. It's probably a record of a long-term treatment. That's why, with a family doctor, I'd imagine. Well, I can't imagine going to a doctor, I mean. As long as I'm alive, I'm never consulting one. That sounds like an extremely bad idea, Ryunosuke. If you were dead, there'd be no point. So, you don't like doctors then? Why would you? They make you drink horrible-tasting medicine and give you painful injections. And then they demand lots of money from you for the privilege, when you're at your lowest ebb. You sound like a model patient. With a bad case of stubbornness, no less. For which the only cure is very bitter medicine indeed. Wait, can I, Let's have a look. This is some kind of medical history. Ah, and there's the entry for the day the professor was killed. Extraction of molar with the topical anesthesia. Extraction of molar? You mean he had a tooth taken out? would seem so. Just before the incident, he'd had a bad tooth removed. Perhaps they used laughing gas. That's the most modern practice in the West for pain relief. Oh, uh-huh. You know, maybe that's what killed him. Yes, I've heard of this anesthesia. Although it's hard to believe there's anything that can actually stop you feeling pain. Ah, there's a cautionary note from the medical practitioner as well. Strictly no food or drink besides water for 3 hours post-procedure until anesthetic effects have passed. There we go. We got it. Really? Sounds like information worth bearing in mind. A record of dental work. On the day of the murder, the victim had undergone dental treatment and had been prohibited from eating or drinking anything but water. So, why does that steak look like it has a huge bite out of it then? With this new information, the meaning of that one particular statement totally changes. So, I think it's time we listen to the testimony again, don't you? Definitely. Okay, so, when he's gone at the foreign mail, Furthermore, visual search of the premises at the time confirmed there was only the personnel present. Alone he was, the Englishman, dining all by himself. Wait, no, that was supposed to go back. No discrepancies have come to light, and that's what we need. Oh, I think the situation has changed a great deal. We've come a long way because we have just what we need. It's simply a case of using it to our advantage now. And do you mean there is a discrepancy somewhere? The crucial point is, the victim had been prohibited from consuming anything but water when he was shot. The fact has not yet been brought to the court's attention. Always keep your eye on the progress of the battle, that's the only sure way to win. Okay, so dining alone, I believe.
Yes!
Haha! Well, I think, About what are you wittering, lad? Call yourself a lawyer? I'm not actually a lawyer, I'm just being one right now. I wish I could. But first and foremost here, I'm the accused. Ryunosuke. Everyone stumbles on their words occasionally. Under the circumstances, I wouldn't worry about it. Thanks, Kazuma. I could see it quite clearly in that cross-examination you just carried out. When you raised your hand straight up like that, so purposefully, you knew exactly what it was you wanted to say. Don't feel like you have to choose your words carefully. Just say what you're thinking. All right, and thanks for the advice. Don't overthink it, just talk first and think while you're talking. What is this, doing an unrehearsed speech? Improv? Correct-san. This is the medical report card belonging to the victim. Ah, I see, and I don't see. What of it, boy? Comparing what is written on this report card with your witness statement, something clearly doesn't add up.
Objection!
Dear me, dear me. Have you forgotten my words so soon, you amateur? Sorry, what? You are not to interrupt court proceedings with your amateurish drivel. Sir, it is cross-examination. It is my turn to interrupt court proceedings, because I'm not interrupting court proceedings if I'm actually asking the questions that I need to ask during my own cross-examination. I don't know, I don't actually know how court works, but... but... let's see if I can explain in words you might understand. It was after 2 p.m. in the afternoon when the victim was murdered at the restaurant. Whatever he may or may have not have done before that time is completely irrelevant. It is entirely relevant! But that's, Remember, Ryunosuke, you don't have to use clever language or fancy words. Just make your point. Your Excellency, I believe we're finished here. There is surely no need to prolong this trial further. The witness testimonies the court has heard have been clear and concise. This medical report card has no bearing on the matter at all, for the simple reason that there is no one else besides this pale-faced pupil who would... I was not able to finish that. This medical report card has nothing to do with the case? Do you really believe that? What? That outburst half petrified me, boy! Of course I believe it. How could it possibly be relevant? Perhaps because Hada Clinic, which issued the report card, is a dental clinic. A dental clinic? Is that supposed to mean something to me? Sir, have you ever been to the dentist? Perhaps if I told you that the victim had just had a tooth extracted? What's this now? And furthermore, if I told you that as a result, the victim had become forbidden from eating... Just what are you trying to say, Cadet? He had orders not to eat, so what? It's all written up in here. No food or drink other than water for 3 hours post-procedure while anesthesia wears off. What? No, that can't. Correct, Hassan? What, boy? What? As you've just heard, when he was killed, sometime shortly after 2 p.m., the victim couldn't have been eating anything at all. No. Additionally, there's more. You have assured the court with unwavering self-confidence that the victim was dining alone. But that cannot possibly be the case. Because the victim, as we now know, had just had one of his teeth extracted and was still experiencing the effects of the anesthetic. Expertly done, partner.
Objection!
What? What is this nonsense, you little upstart? These are baseless accusations. Just look at the photographic evidence. You can clearly see the plate of food at the victim's table.
Objection!
Use your head. This is the very discrepancy we're talking about, or can't you follow the logic? Sir, how did you even become a prosecutor? How dare you? I think it's fair to say that the tables in this restaurant case have turned. Wouldn't you agree, Ryunosuke? Oh, how the turntables. Hey! Buying his license at the bar. Adakash, hey! Thanks for the resub. Good to see you. How's it going? The table is on the other foot now. Yes, most definitely. So, having just undergone some dental surgery, the victim was unable to eat. Going well, I suppose? Oh, okay. Which leaves one very crucial conundrum. Who, in fact, was eating the pictured beefsteak? Okay, I actually have to check something real quick. It was nothing. Okay, work is interesting. Oh dear. Who in fact was eating the pictured beefsteak? The court will hear the opinion of the defense on this new puzzle. I assume you're ready, counsel? Counsel? Oh, that means me, doesn't it? Alright, the answer to this question is going to be pivotal. This is the start of your turning this trial around. Show them what you're made of. The steak is... organic! Got it. So, the person eating the steak at the victim's table must have been... the as-yet unknown third party. Obviously, it can only have been someone else who was sitting at the professor's table. You will not let this go, will you? There is no such person. There was, because I saw her. When the incident occurred, we know that the victim couldn't have been eating anything, yet we have evidence of a half-eaten steak on his table. Better than being inorganic. Therefore, the only logical conclusion is that there was somebody else there eating it. We have strong evidence to support our assertion. It's clear that these witness testimonies are unreliable. If the court decides to push through a ruling at this stage, we will lodge a formal complaint with the Ministry of Justice and pursue a fair retrial, relentlessly. Azuma, are you insane? You would take on the government? Don't worry, Counsel. I have no issue with you. As much of an idiot as you seem to be. What do you mean? I have issue with them. Those two witnesses in the stand. What are you talking about? We have demonstrated with evidence that the victim was not alone. So, if it now turns out that the two of you deliberately lied when giving your testimonies, obviously, you will be charged with perjury. Perjury! And, since this is a murder trial, you will also be deemed complicit in the killing. Complicit in murder? Oh boy. Negative. There was no mention of this at the tactical meeting. Tactical meeting? What are you talking about? I was just following orders. You were ordered not to give a vital... yeah, got him. You were ordered not to give a vital piece of evidence? You were ordered to hide the existence of a third person? That's right, as the man says. Just say you never saw the gentlewoman. That's what they told us. There we go, right from their mouths. So there was intention. Even worse. What? What did you just say, Correcto-san? Oh, no. You were just following orders? Now hold on, lad. I was, Say you never saw the gentlewoman? Therefore, they are complicit in the murder. When you say gentlewoman, do you mean... you saw the victim with the lady from overseas? Yup. What?
Objection!
What is the meaning of all this? Off with their heads. Oh no. These witnesses gave false statements? Is this true, you pair? Just one simple slip of the tongue. You both had a simple slip of the tongue, huh? Yeah, sure. Order! Counsel, explain what is going on here. All three of them. It's painfully clear now. You tried to prevent these witnesses from telling the truth. Absolutely not. The prosecution knows nothing of this. Then who's behind this? Who tried to make you keep your mouths shut? Dishonor to their family. Dishonor to their house. Eat their dishonorable family cow. No. That's China. This is Japan. Oh my goodness. The kid is pulling on the guy's mustache. And... fair. Well, that's classified. So you're prepared to be tried as a conspirator to this murder, are you? You wouldn't. This can't be happening. Ryunosuke, judging from the way they're reacting to this, I'd say they were sworn to silence by someone with considerable influence. However, I don't believe Ouchi had any idea about it. What are you saying? I mean, to wield that kind of influence, there are only a handful of possibilities. It could only have been the government, the military, or the police, I suppose. Well, any ideas who might be behind this? If we can affirm who tried to silence these witnesses, then we can continue our pursuit. Can we check the court record? Can we? I want to take a little more... Aha! So... Hosonaga, I've got a question for you. You were a waiter at the restaurant, right? So why does your business card say Chief Inspector on the back? Well, that's unexpected. What is? Look, do you see it says the witness's name here? Satoru Hosonaga? Well, yes, business cards do tend to show the person's name. That's sort of the point. It's not the name that's unexpected, it's his job title. His job? Oh! Chief Inspector Satoru Hosonaga, Primary Criminal Investigation Division, Imperial Police Bureau. Inspector? What on earth? I have no idea, but let's face it. The police have a lot of power and influence, if they're wielding it somehow here. Can we play as Headband Samurai instead? If only. If we can affirm who tried to silence these witnesses, then we can continue our pursuit. So we need to name whoever it was that tried to make the witnesses keep their mouths shut. Of course, we'll need evidence before we can make any firm accusations. Evidence that proves whoever it was really did wield his or her power here. But how? How can we possibly... Remember how we made progress before? We examined this piece of evidence in more detail and found a new clue as a result. Oh yes, that's right. Well, that's not the only piece of evidence we have, is it? Yes, we've already looked at it. We need to re-examine everything and make sure there's nothing we've missed. There's no time to lose. I want answers. If it's proven that these witnesses have been manipulated, I assure you the penalty will be severe. Please, wait. Your Excellency. I had no idea about any of this. I swear to every Shinto god. I knew nothing. And what does the defense have to say about all this, well, Your Excellency? No time to think. Just going to have to close my eyes and shout out the first name that comes into my head. Besides the prosecution, the only person with the necessary influence to manipulate the witnesses is... Satoru Hosonaga.
Yes!
Oh, hold on, I gotta Okay, I'm back. Ouchie, we know you know nothing. You have proven time and time again that you are a complete idiot. Oh dear. Well, surely that would be Satoru Hosonaga-san. Hosonaga-san? The waiter who took the stand earlier?
Objection!
I mean, yeah. Poppycock. What possible reason would the waiter have to make these witnesses give false testimony? Not to mention the fact that even a head waiter could not possibly have that level of influence. For once, I would agree with you. If, that is, the man truly were a waiter. Well, if he truly were? Come on, Ryunosuke. Time to hit the court with the truth. The truth about Satoru Hosonaga-san's real identity as proven by evidence. Oh, wait.
Yes!
The plan on the restaurant sketched by the man in question? I agree it shows a great deal of attention to detail. But I'm not sure we can conclude anything from... Sorry, Your Excellency. That's the back of the card. It's the back of the card that's of interest. I beg your pardon? Or perhaps I should have said the front? Is everyone stupid? Or perhaps I should have said the front? Yes, it's the front of the back of the car, of the back of the card. That's where the telling detail is. Words are hard. Would somebody please explain what this overexcited student is trying to say? Hosonaga-san sketched the plan of the restaurant on the reverse side of his business card. Wow, wordsmith in the house. Just turn the frickin' card around. Hosonaga-san sketched the plan of the restaurant on the reverse side of his business card. The front of that business card reveals the man in question's profession. His true profession. The waiter's profession? But that's surely... Good gracious! That's right, Your Excellency. The card reads, Chief Inspector, Primary Criminal Investigation Division, Imperial Police Bureau. What? Then the waiter is a police detective? I haven't heard any mention of this before. Why haven't I heard any mention of this before? The Imperial Police Bureau has immense power. Absolute power as far as regular civilians are concerned. So, witnesses there in the stand. Was it in fact the waiter who gave you your orders? Was it he who told you not to mention that you'd seen this foreign gentlewoman at the scene? Has not a single person looked at the evidence? I mean, this is Ace Attorney after all. Nerp. Well... Oh? Inspector Hosonaga? I was worried something like this may happen. The moment you asked me to submit my sketch as an evidence, I realized it was a possibility. Half the evidence we snatched from the crime scene. The court will take this plan and add it to the court record as evidence. Oh, well... Is there a problem? Hand the plan to the court officer at once. Of course. Here you are. Yes, I remember now. He did act strangely when the judge asked him to hand over his business card. I strive to carry out all investigations flawlessly. It's my guiding principle. Intelligence not found. But I let myself be distracted when I made that sketch. It was an unusually careless mistake. So you mean to say you really are a detective? But why would a detective be working as a restaurant waiter? Ah, of course! Your salary must be terrible! I was working undercover. Oh no, that's great. Undercover? Okay, yes, everyone is stupid. Yes, there have been a series of incidents at the restaurant recently. In order to investigate, I decided to get a job there as a waiter working undercover. And his salary is likely terrible. If you haven't played any of the other Ace Attorney games, his salary is still probably better than Gumshoe's. He's a private detective, but doesn't get paid because he never solves any cases. In order to investigate, I decided to get a job there as a waiter working undercover. Incidents at the restaurant? What kind of incidents? I mean, Gumshoe literally fails at everything he does. Point. And yet everyone likes him, sort of. Oh, Gumshoe is freaking awesome. He's... That would be classified police information, which I am not at liberty to divulge. However, I can state categorically that they are unrelated to this case of homicide. Very well then, Inspector Hosonaga, but you will elaborate on one point for the court. Of course, Your Excellency. We have just heard brand new information from the two witnesses beside you. That at the time of the shooting, there was in fact another person present at the victim's table. If that is indeed true, clearly you would also have been aware of this person's presence, having served at the table in question. However, your testimony did not allude to this other diner, therefore I am led to assume that in your professional capacity as a police officer, you required these witnesses to be in agreement. Right, where you just tampered with the testimony and clearly proved you're dishonest. Yeah. Would that be correct? Correct, Your Excellency. Unbelievable! As I suspected. Yep, he's been doing that. That seems to be his big character quirk. As expected. As soon as I heard the gunshot, I ran out of the kitchen to see what had happened. The victim sat slumped in his chair, and beside him, gun in hand, stood the accused student. Sitting opposite to the victim at the same table was a young lady, whom I guessed to be an Englishwoman. So the truth comes out. I immediately sealed off the restaurant, and reported the incident to the Bureau. It was then that I received some special orders. Special orders? You mean to say, remove the Englishwoman from the scene at once. It was made clear that the Englishwoman's presence at the restaurant was to be concealed. Those were my orders. But what if this Englishwoman was the killer? I think it would be in everyone's best interest not to pursue that idea. The Empire views the friendly terms of its relationship with Britain more highly than anything at the moment. An Englishman has been murdered on our soil. To name an Englishwoman as the primary suspect? Well, without irrefutable evidence, that would be completely out of the question. So that's the reason for the disappearance of the Phantom Woman in this case. But it's not right! Hmm. One possibility does spring to mind. What do you mean, Kazuma? Yume University is currently hosting a number of exchange students from Great Britain. I'm fairly certain that one of them, studying in the Medical Facilities Research Laboratory, grounds for mistrial right here, is a young Englishwoman. What? Move to dismiss. You're a shrewd man. Job's done. I can see why you're the chosen candidate for the overseas study tour. You mean... When I removed the woman from the scene of the crime, I thought it prudent to check her identity first. And the court demands that you name the lady in question at once, Inspector. The Englishwoman sitting at the university professor's table was a certain Miss Giselle Brett. She is indeed a foreign student studying in the research laboratory of Yume University's medical faculty. What is happening here? I admit that under orders from the police bureau, I erased all evidence of this lady's presence at the scene, and ordered those witnesses to make no mention of her in their testimonies. I mean, at this point, the charges against us can be dropped and we're free to go. If only that was how it worked in Ace Attorney. It must now be up to your Excellency to decide how to deal with this situation. I think it would be better for the relationship of the countries if the Englishman was killed by someone of his own nationality instead of someone from a different country, but heck, I'm no expert on diplomacy and international politics. I find the defendant guilty. Very well. My thoughts on this matter are as follows. Thus far, the case presented to the court has been underpinned by a particularly critical premise. Namely, that the victim was dining alone. My bribe finds this is fine. However, as we have now discovered that this premise is false, it would be a desecration of our justice system to ignore the truth and give a ruling at this point.
Objection!
But, Your Excellency, that would mean missing the noon deadline of a ruling in order to send the telegraphic report to Great Britain. Well, they shouldn't have put a noon deadline on a trial. You know, trials take very long. They may happen faster in this, in the Ace Attorney world than they do in real life, but they still take a very long time. Our own government will surely be very displeased by such actions. I mean, here's the deadline. Man dead. Calm yourself, Counsel. I will not allow the government of our country or any other to influence the proceedings of my courtroom. Inspector Hosonaga? Yes, sir. Easy. The sued person is innocent. You will locate this Giselle Brett and escort her to the courtroom with the utmost urgency. At once, Your Excellency. But that means you'll be going against the special orders you were given from the police bureau. As I said before, it is my guiding principle to carry out all investigations flawlessly. So, it won't be a problem? Justice! Nothing will get in my way. Court will adjourn briefly. The prosecution must call the English student Giselle Brett to the witness stand. Do I make myself clear? It is my guiding principle to carry out investigations flawlessly, and that's why I tried to frame you for murder. Oh no. Yes. Your Excellency! Justice just isn't for everyone. Good. Then we will have a 30-minute recess before reconvening. To be continued. Right now, because, just isn't. The Adventure of the Great Departure. Trial Part 2. November, 11:38 a.m. Supreme Court of Judicature, Defendant's Antechamber 5. Oh, this is why Ace Attorney is so good. Excellent work, Ryunosuke. That was superb. My heart was in my mouth the entire time. Stupid situations breed wonderfully insane court rulings. It was almost unbelievable. I mean, looking at you in there, you were drenched in sweat, your eyes popping, your knees knocking, and you were grinding your teeth. It was a grim sight, but before I knew it, you started finding inconsistencies in the testimonies. I mean, I had to point a lot of them out to you, but I think you might have natural talent for being a lawyer. Forget it. It's terrifying. If I get through this, I don't ever want to see the inside of a courtroom again. Bad news for you there, Ryunosuke. Anyway, it looks like we've exposed your Phantom Lady at last. Yeah, about that. Miss Giselle Brett, a student from Great Britain, is she? That's what I was trying to tell everyone from the start. Dr. Wilson wasn't alone. There was a young woman with him, like I've been saying all along. Yes, you have, haven't you? I might not be overly confident in the courtroom, but my powers of observation are one thing I'm sure of. Yes, I can see that. So, about this young gentlewoman. Thanks to our detective friend, she was hastily escorted away from the scene, it seems. Silly fool, this is just the beginning of the game. Did you see what happened with that? No, I didn't see any of it. I was just on my way out of the restaurant myself, then on the floor next to Dr. Wilson's table, I noticed there was a gun lying on the floor, and just after I bent down and picked it up... I didn't have time to think about where the sound of the gunshot had even come from. The waiter ran over to me, looking as white as a sheet. And he bundled me into some sort of small pantry next to the kitchen. Fast thinking by the detective. He apprehended his suspect without a moment's delay. Yes, and because I was shut in the pantry, I have no idea what happened outside in the dining area. Ah, there you are. Well done, both of you. Professor Mikotoba. Well, seems I was right. The pair of you make an outstanding team. You've exceeded my expectations, I have to say. Yes, It seems you planned this from the start. You arranged things so that I wouldn't be able to act as a lawyer in this trial. Our modern country is still in its infancy. Our justice system even more so. Which is why I firmly believe that we need to send our brightest young stars overseas to learn all they can. I wanted to avoid a situation that may have resulted in your study tour to Great Britain being cancelled. Foolish, fooly fool! You signed a contract by a government mandatory decree. You were volunteered to take this position and have many mandatory trials ahead. No, foolish, fooly fool? No. Francisca isn't in this game. Well, it makes no difference. Lawyer or otherwise, if I'm the kind of man who can't help his best friend avert the worst crisis of his life... Excalibur! Oh no. I shouldn't waste everyone's time by going to study overseas anyway. What? What are you saying, Kazuma? So that's your stance. I was afraid you'd feel that way. Kazuma! Well then, it looks like it all comes down to you, young man. To me? Yes. You need to prove your innocence and uncover what really took place in that restaurant. I must say, I very much want to know the truth. After all, I have a personal connection to this case. Come to think of it, he said the same thing earlier this morning, didn't he? If you don't mind me asking, Professor, did you know the victim? Yes, I did. As you're probably aware, Dr. John H. Wilson was a visiting professor at UMA, and it was I who invited him. Oh, I see. I didn't know that before. Anyway, you're about to go into battle. The victim was a university professor from Great Britain, and a well-known one at that. Naturally, our government is looking to identify and punish the culprit as quickly as possible. Big hint, ding! Let's not forget who we're going up against. The gentlewoman whose involvement our police bureau went to extraordinary lengths to hide. Yes, and I'm sure the prosecution will be using every tool at their disposal to quash your case. But I've no doubt that you pair will put up a good fight, right to the last. Best of luck. Thank you. Oh boy, what trope wagon is she riding in on? Now then. I need you to run an errand at the university at once. There's something I think we may need. Of course. Good luck. Good luck, Kazuma-sama. Defendant Naruhodo. Court recess is over. Please make your way back inside the courtroom at once. It's time. Let's get back to it, partner. Let's go in there and deal a decisive blow, before these old fossils know what's hit them. Kazuma? You're not actually going to go in there swinging your sword, are you? I think that would just make things a whole lot worse for us. What? Thank you. Really. What for? Well, if you hadn't said you believed me, then I'm fairly sure I'd already been found guilty by now. Look, I have faith in you. As a lawyer, and as a friend. Coming from you, that means a lot. Murder? You can't accuse us if you're dead. No. If I'm found guilty in this trial, he's really going to give up on his dream of studying abroad. That's the kind of true friend he is. So this isn't just my battle anymore. Whoever we're up against, we absolutely cannot afford to lose. Not guilty. No. No, no. Oh, good night, only. Confusing battle cries. Alright then. I'll save the thank yous for after the trial. You can treat me to one of those sukiyaki meals I like from Yume Cafeteria on University Street. With an extra large portion, of course. Kazuma, I'm a frickin' college student. I'm frickin' broke. You know that, right? The court hereby resumes the trial of Ryunosuke Naruhodo. Extra? I eat rice once a week for... Oh dear. Professor Ouchi, have you managed to subpoena the witness? Yes, Your Excellency, against all odds. And thanks to a certain young stripling, the prosecution is now under rather painful scrutiny from the government. Sorry. I'm just trying to defend myself, man. Let the government scrutinize. That's their job. It's nothing to worry about. It's highly unlikely that the good relations we've forged with Great Britain will emerge from this trial unscathed. Will you still think it's nothing to worry about when the new treaty breaks down and our nation founders? Sir, if a treaty breaks down over a single murder trial, then I don't think the ties were very strong to begin with. Says the man who messed it up. Again, terribly sorry. If the friendship... Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Kazuma is saying exactly what I was saying earlier. If the friendship between our nations is really so fragile, then the treaty isn't worth the paper it's written on. Kazuma vibes. You really have nothing to worry about, Ryunosuke. What do you mean? A secret trial, anxiety over some foreign government's opinions, a bungled investigation, missing witnesses? Is this what our nation's justice system is? Is this the Supreme Court of Japan or of England? Shut up, you jumped-up rookie boy. You and your friends know nothing. Nothing of the situation our nation finds itself in. By aligning ourselves with this great world power, we'll become strong. Diplomacy has never been more critical. Steady political maneuvering is what will secure our futures. We're lawyers, not politicians. I won't deny that I'm no expert. I'm just a student and one who could arguably study harder, too. But standing here now in our Supreme Court, there's one thing I feel very strongly. A country that fails to uphold the truth in its justice system is a country with no future at all. Ooh. Well said, Ryunosuke. Despite the wide-eyed look of terror. Ryunosuke's tweaking out there, yep. He's nervous. Thank you, Counsel. This court is the pinnacle of our nation's justice system and exists solely for the pursuance of truth. His eyes are trying to escape. With that in mind, this trial will now resume with its next witness taking the stand. The visiting student from Great Britain, Miss Giselle Brett. Yes. Your Excellency! Does your head hurt when you do that? Well... Well, what a delight it is to welcome such a fine gentlewoman to Japan, and from such a distant land. Only if you don't do it right. Tea. Someone bring English tea. In England, no discussions take place without tea. Sir, I don't think that's how that works. I don't know. Any English people in our in the chat here who can confirm this? The face covering hat. Sus. Very. Is that true? No idea. So, ahem. Not likely, but whatever. Could we possibly trouble you to state your name and occupation for the court? Of course. My name is Satoru Hosonaga. I have been working undercover as the head waiter at La Carnival, but my... Yes, we know about you already. Inspector Hosonaga, where are your manners? In England, it's always ladies first. Is that true? No idea. More importantly, a little earlier today, you said something to me. You said your powers of observation are one thing you're sure of. Oh, yes, I think I did, didn't I? Yet your description for this amazing sight was simply a woman. You didn't think to mention the giant swan hat. Sorry, Ryunosuke, but powers of observation aside, your powers of description are sorely lacking. Guilty. I was looking at her, eyes. Swan eyes. So, dear lady, once again, if we may trouble you for your name and occupation, please. So, what eyes were you mentioning there, Ryunosuke? She doesn't even seem to have eyes, just this little mask here. I cannot read any of that. Pardon me, but what you say? I'm terribly sorry, dear lady, but what? Huh? The lady says her name is Giselle Brett. She comes from London, England. She's a visiting research student, currently enrolled in Yume University's medical faculty. Oh my, what a rare treat to hear the dulcet tones of the delightful language of the British people. Okay, calm down there, sir. I'm afraid I don't understand a word you said. It was as beautiful as a hummingbird's song. Do hummingbirds even have a song? And she can't speak the universal language of the stars? English? Oh, no. You see, our characters are actually speaking Japanese. As far as I can tell, the detective is translating her words faithfully enough. Yes, I agree. You'll obviously do fine in England, Kazuma. Her English doesn't rattle you at all, does it? Oh, it's an abridged joke and reference? Okay. Nor you. You've clearly been paying attention in your English classes, Ryunosuke. and yet we still can't understand a word she says. The court thanks the beautiful lady for taking the stand. Now, if we may trouble you to confirm something, Miss Brett? From which you don't recall, okay. 3 days ago, at a restaurant called La Carnival, a grim murder took place. The court has been led to believe that you were dining there with the victim, Dr. Wilson, at the time. Is that correct? She speaks in cursive. Who does that? How are you making that sound with your mouth? Is that correct? She says, yes. That was a lot of talking for a simple yes. This could take some time. A lot of words for yes. Yes. So even though she's studying here in Japan, she can't speak any Japanese? She'd like to apologize for disappearing from the scene. That wasn't a yes or a no. She says that she was due to make a presentation at the university, so she had to leave immediately. Interesting. When you're the one who engineered her escape, I was just following special orders from the Bureau. Well now, dear lady, would you be so kind as to cast your eyes over this photographic print? Seeing as you were so unfortunately present at the scene of the crime, could it be that your resplendent eyes caught sight of the wicked perpetrator, perhaps? Apparently, it was a very frightening and sorrowful sight. Do you mean to say... Yes, it would appear the lady did witness the crime. The very moment when the accused, standing right there in this courtroom, shot the victim in cold blood. Yeah, okay, she totally did it. Order! Order in the court! Did you hear that, Your Excellency? Okay, you gotta go back to work? Okay, I hope it goes well, Atakash. Good to have you here. Here we have an absolutely conclusive witness statement. Thank you. Well, it looks like it's clear now. Clear who our real enemy is. Unfortunately, I will have to ask you to formally testify, if you please. Kindly tell the court the exact nature of this frightening and sorrowful sight you described. A frightening and sorrowful sight. Dun, 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 dun. I had arranged to meet for a slightly late luncheon with Dr. Wilson that day. The professor was unable to eat, so I ordered for myself only a beef steak. After a while, the accused came over to greet the professor, and they got into a fierce argument. Then, not long afterwards, the accused took the professor's gun and shot him right before my eyes. I don't carry a gun myself, so obviously I couldn't have been the culprit. This is a condemning testimony indeed. No, I didn't have any kind of argument with the professor at all.
Objection!
Quiet, you filthy wretch. Look at you, you black-hearted blackguard. And look at this snow-white angel. I'm sure even a dark-minded scoundrel like you can imagine whose words the court is going to believe. You're still making the same mistakes, Ryunosuke. You mustn't blurt out when you're goaded like that. That's a lesson you need to learn. No, but he's so annoying! Of course, I was at the scene as well. I took statements from this lady and the 2 witnesses who testified before, and reported back to the Bureau. It was decided that Miss Brett was not involved, so I let her go. The testimonies of the last 2 witnesses were completely worthless, however. Well, even so. On the day in question, the lady was wearing the same outfit as she is today. As you can see, there is nowhere about her person where she could conceal a firearm. Are you looking at her outfit, sir? There are plenty of places where she could conceal it. I would think she could hide a gun almost anywhere in that outfit if she wanted to. I love it when the game makes the same jokes I do. Unless and until the precise location where the witness is to have hidden a weapon can be shown, this is moot. There are no pockets in my outfit. I have nowhere to hide a gun. Those are the witness's own words on the matter. That's ridiculous. If only I was allowed to lift up her dress, I could prove it. Oh, that's, ooh. Don't think about doing anything rash, Ryunosuke. We don't need an assault lawsuit on your hands as well as a murder charge. I didn't fire the gun I picked up. There must have been another gun there that day. You're right about that. Which means this lady was hiding a gun somewhere. Yes, that's what we have to prove now. And to do so, we will need to pull her testimony apart. The defense may now cross-examine the witness. Oh, yes, Your Excellency. A frightening and sorrowful sight. Okay, I think we're gonna have to press the statements.
Yes!
After 2 p.m., in fact. That's really quite a late lunch, isn't it?
Objection!
You don't keep up with the latest fashions from Britain, do you? Late luncheons are on vogue, isn't that right? What? No. A decisive English no has quite a sting to it. The gentlewoman is currently working in the victim's research laboratory, it seems. So it was apparently a daily occurrence that they would lunch together. But on the day in question, the victim had another appointment at the clinic first. Yes, which we can prove from the medical report card that was submitted as evidence earlier. That's right. Miss Brett and the victim went to lunch following the victim's treatment, which is why it was so late. Yes, that all makes perfect sense. Such wonderful logic. What a shining example of English intelligence this fine gentlewoman is. Okay, sir. Please. Your attempts at flattery make you look even more pathetic. So you both arrived at the restaurant. What happened next? The professor was unable to eat, so I ordered for myself only a beef steak, okay?
Yes!
He was unable to eat, you say? And that was because he just had a tooth removed at Hada Clinic, correct? That's right. You're supposed to actually check with the witness before answering. Was Miss Brett aware of that fact? It seems so, yes. She'd heard that the professor was to have some dental treatment. So that would mean that it was you who ate the steak pictured here, is that right, Miss Brett? That's right, yes. The print you have there shows the table exactly as it was left after the horrifying events. Exactly as it was left? Dear me, what a harrowing experience. To have traveled to a distant land on the far side of the world and be embroiled in such a tragic incident. I have no fear, my dear lady. I swear I will crush the evil fiend that has subjected you to this terrible plight. So the victim, Dr. Wilson, had nothing to eat or drink at all? That's right. Other than some carbonated water. Just water? Yes. The professor was unable to eat, but he had been given permission to drink water. So it appears that the diners toasted their lunch with a glass of water each. They each raised a glass of carbonated water. Okay, so why was there only one glass in the photo? What do you think, Ryunosuke, about the victim's about the witness's last statement? If it was the victim's last statement, then that would be very interesting. Especially since we're not supposed to be able to talk to the dead without a spirit medium in the series. It is very meaningful. That last statement of yours, Miss Brett, has a profound bearing on this case. Well, well, how fascinating. You tell us, what is this profound bearing, huh? I'm about to explain it to you. Once again, I'll use small words so you can understand. The significance of this statement will become apparent when the time is right. The defense calls for the witness's last statement to be formally added to the testimony. Well sidestepped, counsel. Very well, Miss Brett. Kindly repeat what you just said to be added to your official testimony. Gladly, she said. That was brilliant, Kazuma. I'm going to remember that one. Which one? The significance will become apparent when the time is right. I could really use that phrase. I'd hope there are some more useful tips you're picking up from this experience than that, Ryunosuke. I ordered a beef steak for myself and the professor, and I said cheers over a glass of carbonated water. Okay.
Yes!
That's it! Let me just confirm something, please. It's to do with this photographic print. Just a short while ago, you spoke of this print showing the victim's table at the crime scene. But it was exactly as it was left. That is correct, the lady says. Well, that is, it's odd. Very odd. Dear me, what's odd is the defense's inability to express itself. Ryunosuke, what is it about the print that looks odd to you? Well, obviously, it's the cheers. The cheers? Miss Brett just told us that she and the professor said cheers over a glass of water. But if that's true, there should be 2 glasses on the table, not 1. Ah. You're quite right, Counsel. There's only 1 glass pictured here.
Objection!
Are we supposed to be impressed by this nitpicking over minutia? What possible difference does the presence or absence of a glass make on the case?
Objection!
Minutia, you say? Could it be that the detective here removed a glass from the table to conceal the lady's presence? Of course not. I would never do something so reckless. But there should have been 2 glasses on the table. Or are you going to try to tell me you can clink with only one... or that you can clink with only 1? You're quite right. I certainly took 2 glasses to the table. Inspector, what did the lady say? It would seem that it was Miss Brett who took the glass from the table. What? It was all so terrifying, everything that happened. I panicked and thought I should try to hide the fact that I'd been there at all, she's saying. Good gracious! How are you doing that with your mask? Does it have like a little thing that you can slide up to make your eyes all squinty and the like? Sorry. You don't look very sorry. There, as I assured the court before, this is of no consequence at all. Oh, please. We must remember that this student had just murdered this lady's luncheon companion before her very eyes. Who could blame her for concealing a glass or 2 in her state of disarray? That's absurd! Oh, really? So, do we take it that you are now going to accuse this vulnerable, young, and beautiful woman of mischief? Yes. What? No, this can't be put down to mischief. I'd like to know exactly how the lady took the glass from the scene. It would seem that she slipped it into a small handbag she was carrying. A handbag, you say? Yes, Your Excellency. A small handheld pouch commonly carried by the well-to-do women in England. So, the beautiful lady has graciously explained how and why she removed the glass from the scene now. However, the fact remains that this glass has absolutely no bearing on the case. This student has been trying to confuse the court with logical reasoning. But in the end, it comes to nothing. Sir. Are you really saying that logic has no place in a court of law? What the actual frick? No more pretentious accusations. You have wasted enough time already. Indeed. The lady has offered a satisfactory explanation as to why she removed the glass. I think henceforth we can consider the matter to have no bearing on the case. Counsel for the defense, are you in agreement? Of course frickin' not! Well, I don't know, really. If you want to pursue this matter further, you're going to need to show that it has some deeper significance. Okay, she doesn't have any pockets on her, does she? Well, what about the handbag? Yes, you're right. So she took the glass away in her handbag. There's a deeper significance there, it's... Wait, the lady put the glass in her handbag, you say? Yes, do try to keep up. It's already been explained to the court that all English gentlewomen carry handbags for small items. Let me see. A little while ago, Miss Brett stated the following. There are no pockets in my outfit. I have nowhere to hide a gun. But what she forgot to mention was her handbag, in which it would be perfectly possible to conceal a gun. You're right! Well done, partner. I had a feeling you'd pick up on that, too. What are you insinuating, you vile blackguard? It's really very simple. The gunshot was heard when the defendant picked up the gun from the restaurant floor. As he didn't fire that gun, we can deduce there must have been another firearm at the scene. The true murder weapon, if you will. You can't seriously be suggesting... Inspector Hosonaga? Yes? Did you or did you not search Miss Giselle Brett's handbag on the day of the murder? No, sir, I did not. As I thought. In other words, another gun, the one that was actually used to kill the professor, could have been hidden in Miss Brett's handbag? Could have been hidden in Miss Brett's handbag. Order, order, order! What is the meaning of this, Inspector? The meaning of what, Prosecutor Ouchie? Why on earth did you not have the lady open her handbag and show you the contents at the time? Thanks to your bungling incompetence, now she has to endure these uncomfortable accusations. Brilliant work, partner. Now we have a chance to expose the real woman behind the mask. Do you think so, Kazuma? Well, what a sorry situation. Clearly you have no faith in the police. Huh? As I said, I did not search the lady's handbag after the shooting, simply because it was unnecessary. Unnecessary in what way? I ought to thank the student lawyer, really. I have a piece of evidence here that I had completely forgotten about. This photographic print. This print of a photograph that I thought would be prudent to take immediately after the shooting. As you can see, it clearly shows Miss Brett's handbag. Well, I never. You can see right through to what's inside. That's right. Apparently, meshwork bags like these are the height of fashion in London at the moment. So the contents are clearly visible. Exactly. So there was no need to search the lady's handbag. If there had been a gun inside, it would have been immediately obvious. Ooh. As you can see, there's nothing to imply Miss Brett's guilt here. Thank you for helping to prove that, Naruhodo-san. Brick. Order! Order! Inspector Hosonaga, you will submit that print as evidence at once. Certainly, Your Excellency. I think you've had long enough to cross-examine the witness, Counsel. The court has now been shown considerable evidence. As the photographic print just submitted into the court record appears to have no further significance, I am satisfied that there is no longer any room for doubt in this matter, and I must make my ruling. Indeed, and there is only one logical conclusion. That the pathetic rookie slumped over the bench before us is the only possible perpetrator of this crime. No. Just when I thought I was beginning to turn things around. I'm in a worse situation than I was at the start. Kazuma? I'm sorry, Ryunosuke. Huh? Now that the cross-examination of the witness is over, there's no way to force the trial to continue. What? You mean this is it? I must say, you put up quite a fight for a rookie student. But the weak are meat, while the strong eat. This frickin' guy. You were wasting your time. There is no way to defeat true justice. A fact that you can chew on to your heart's content from the inside of your cell. This can't be happening. Am I really going to be found guilty of a crime that I didn't commit? And Kazuma. His dream of going to study in Great Britain will slip through his fingers. Kazuma. What? Is there really no chance now of turning this trial around? You heard the judge. There's nothing about that last photograph the detective produced that we can contest. Okay, well, let's take a look at it. It's a strange mark on his hand there. Or his wrist. Which means there's no basis which we can argue for this trial to continue. Very well, I will now proceed immediately to the ruling. It seems we will be able to report to the British government on time after all. Smug little... Ryunosuke Naruhodo, having considered all the evidence placed before me, yes! I hereby find you... Wait! Your Excellency! Ryunosuke? I don't think you can rule on this case yet. The amateurishness is getting tedious. When His Excellency deems that the trial is over, he gives his ruling. That is the most basic protocol of the courtroom.
Yes!
Your Excellency, just a moment ago you said this. As the photographic print just submitted appears to have no further significance, there is no longer any room for doubt in this matter, and I must make my ruling. Now, that means if there was a problem with the evidence, some significant detail, I mean, then ruling on the case at this time would be out of the question.
Attention!
This is blatant straw-clutching. Look at this photographic print. All it shows is the handbag the gentlewoman was carrying on the day in question. There can be no problem with this evidence. There is plenty more than just the handbag shown in this photo, sir. You'd better know what you're doing, Ryunosuke. I understand your objection, counsel. Certainly, the new evidence submitted by the detective has not undergone the court's scrutiny. However, I fail to see how we can glean any new information from this handbag. Ha! My thoughts exactly. Really, the prosecution is becoming tired of this rookie's desperate wheezes. Yes, I am desperate, but this isn't a wheeze. There's something about this photograph which just doesn't seem right. If only I could put my finger on it. Or maybe your wrist. Very well, I will grant the defense one final opportunity. What? Be warned that if I am unsatisfied by your response here, the trial will be over with immediate effect. Do I make myself clear? So... save. got it. Yes, Your Excellency. So, take another look at the photographic print Inspector Hosonaga submitted before. You will identify the cord where in this print we see the significant detail to which you have alluded.
Yes!
Look at this, here. There's a very unusual mark on the victim's wrist. That is true. It looks almost like a burn of some description.
Objection!
Dear me, I was pondering what new piffle you would come out with. A burn, you say, on the victim's wrist? Clearly that has nothing whatsoever to do with the magnificent lady's handbag. Yes, that is a burn mark, you're right. Go on, Inspector. The police coroner also noticed it when he was performing the post-mortem examination. It was deemed unrelated to the cause of death, so he didn't note it in his report. What did I tell you? In any case, we have no idea when the victim suffered this burn, do we? And no possible way of knowing either. The more I look at it, the more I find myself intrigued by the curious shape of this mark. Looks like an upside-down bullhead. However, as Professor Auchi points out, unless a firm connection to the case can be shown, I cannot allow any further time to be spent on the precise details of this burn. Okay. Well, let's see. Yep, there's a very similar mark on the tray. Excuse me, Your Excellency. It would seem Miss Brett has a lunch appointment with the Dean and the other university staff. She would like to know if she may be excused from the stand now. Oh, of course, dear lady. We shan't hold you up any longer. I'm quite sure His Excellency is about to give his final ruling anyway. What's your thinking on this, Ryunosuke? Do you believe this burn does have something to do with the case? To be honest, I'm not really sure. But if I don't keep pushing, then it's all over. So I was thinking that I should keep digging and digging, in the hope that I might uncover something useful. Yes, you're right. I am? If we can just link that burn to the case, if we can do that, we might be able to prise this shutting door back open again. Just give up, Counsel. You can't possibly hope to do that. Indeed. I'm afraid that without evidence, I can't allow you to pursue what is little more than conjecture. But if we have evidence... evidence that irrefutably linked the burn on the victim's wrist to the case, then you would allow it? I would, yes. To tell the truth, I hadn't noticed that burn. But as soon as you pointed it out, what I did notice was the color draining from Miss Brett's face. Really? I have to find some link between that burn and the case. This is the moment of truth. It's time to find some evidence that proves what that burn really means. So then, the defense will now present its evidence to the court. The evidence that demonstrates an inextricable connection between the victim's burn and this trial.
Yes!
What's this, Counsel? Yet another print? Yes, Your Excellency. I believe photographic prints are an amazing invention. When we humans look at a scene, we miss things. But in a photograph, things we may have overlooked at the time are recorded forevermore. Do hurry up, Rookie. What are you trying to say? To inconvenience this poor lady any further really would be quite inexcusable. Actually, we may need you to stay with us a little longer if you don't mind, Miss Brett. You see, it's very clearly visible in this other photograph. How did the victim come to have that unusually shaped burn on his wrist? The reason is recorded here forevermore. What? How?
Objection!
You can't fool me with your little bluffs, boy. If that's your game, then let's see how it plays out. Show the court exactly what you mean. What is in this photograph that explains the reason for the victim's burn?
Yes!
The beefsteak? Actually, the point is the metal plate the steak was served on. The plate? Your Excellency, are you alright? As you can see, there's an emblem on the plate. I would guess it's some sort of trademark of La Carnival. The emblem on the plate and the victim's burn are exactly the same shape. Ryunosuke, you genius! You're spot on. Which means the victim must have suffered this burn while he was present at the restaurant.
Objection!
But even if that is the case, we can't know if it happened the day in question or not. It could have been the day before, or the day before that. It most likely happened at some other unrelated time. Well,
Objection!
Sadly, Prosecutor Ouchie, the chances of that are extremely slim. Thanks. Why? The outline of the burn is clearly discernible. Such a serious injury would have caused quite a commotion at the restaurant. Wouldn't you agree, Inspector Hosonaga? I can't imagine having missed such a terrible disaster, certainly. But... I would say, looking at the picture of the wound, that it wasn't suffered very long ago. And although it's not a particularly large burn, it's extremely well defined, as the defense just pointed out. That was no mild burn, that's for sure. Can you be more specific, Inspector? Well, let's see. If the plate was at around 90 degrees centigrade, a burn like that would have taken around 3 seconds. It's inconceivable that the victim wouldn't have let out a scream of pain then. I've been investigating at the restaurant for several weeks already, but I've not heard anyone scream at all. As the head waiter of La Carnival, I can testify to that without hesitation. But you're a detective, not a waiter! I take my job very seriously, whether it's investigation or being a waiter. There you have it. Something isn't right here. As the detective said, anyone who burnt themselves on a piping hot plate for 3 whole seconds would scream in pain. There's no question of that. And yet Inspector Hosonaga never heard the professor scream, not on that day or any before it. That's right. And the strange thing is, on the day he was shot, I didn't hear him cry out either. What are you suggesting? Well, if the professor had carelessly laid his wrist on the plate for anything like 3 seconds that day, that would be beyond careless, I think, counsel. Then the rest of us in the restaurant, myself, the sergeant, and the old antiques dealer, all of us would, without any question, have heard him scream. Wouldn't you agree, Prosecutor Ouchie? Well, yes, I suppose. So the question is, why didn't a single person hear Dr. Wilson scream? I almost don't believe it. Ryunosuke, do you think... Can it really be true? I never dreamt we'd arrive at a conclusion like this. I'm starting to think that maybe been led into a terrible trap. It's a tarp. There's only one explanation I can think of to make sense of this apparent impossibility. On the day in question, when he suffered the burn to his wrist, Dr. Wilson was already deceased. No man could remain silent while his wrist was burning on a piping hot plate for 3 whole seconds. That's clearly impossible. Apart from in one particular situation. Counsel, are you suggesting... Yes, it's only possible if the man was already dead. Already dead? Knowing what we know now, it's the only possible explanation. When the beefsteak was brought to Dr. Wilson's table that day, the professor was already dead. That's madness! Order, please! Counsel, explain this absurd notion at once. The victim was killed by a gunshot. That's right. That's absolutely right, Your Excellency. This is just another ridiculous ploy by the rookie student, but clearly he has no grasp of the facts.
Objection!
No, Prosecutor Ouchie. It is you who have no grasp of the facts. I beg your pardon? As soon as it became apparent that the victim had suffered that burn while at the restaurant, this whole case was turned upside down. Or have you not grasped that yet? Your Excellency, the court must hear from the witness again. If it's true, as we now believe, that the victim was already dead before the gunshot was heard, it's highly likely that Miss Brett knows something about it. Incredible. I certainly didn't anticipate this twist of events. I'm sorry to say, Miss Brett, that you will have to forget your luncheon engagement. But, Your Excellency... The justice system in our country may be in its infancy, but rest assured, all reasonable doubt must be dispelled before I am prepared to pass judgment. Thank you, Your Excellency. What was that smile? Yes, of course. I mean, I'd be delighted to help. Especially if it helps relations between my country and yours. Miss Brett, you speak Japanese? Well, of course I do. I am studying in your country, after all. But then why have you been speaking through an interpreter until now? My mother tongue, the Queen's English, is the most refined and elegant language in the world. As a gentlewoman, I try to avoid speaking in your vulgar tones as much as possible. Lady, if you don't like speaking Japanese, then why are you in Japan? But it seems the men in this land possess none of the chivalrous virtues of English gentlemen. Oh. Holy frick. You know, maybe you should have stayed silent. Because... Holy frick. So I can see that I shall have to lower myself to communicating with you all on your own level. Oh, well, you are the epitome of a true English gentlewoman. Sir, stop. She is literally insulting you. We are truly honored by this lavish consideration you've so graciously afforded us. This frickin' guy. I see. In that case, Miss Brett, I will now ask you to testify in your own words about the events leading up to the death of the victim, Dr. Wilson. So, we're finally going to hear her own words on the matter. Things are getting interesting, Ryunosuke. The victim's death. Unfortunately, I have no idea when the poor man burnt his wrist like that. When the waiter brought my steak, the professor and I raised our glasses in a toast. As far as I've heard, the post-mortem report showed no other possible cause of death besides a gunshot. If there's some other way a man's life can be taken without leaving a trace, please do show me. But of course, this country's inferior investigative techniques probably wouldn't have picked up on it anyway. Wow. That most captivating and beautiful testimony will go down in Supreme Court's history. Thank you. Captivating and beautiful! She is literally insulting you guys. Come on! Easy does it. I hope that is the last time I will have to sully my lips with the coarse tones of your unbecoming tongue. Oh my goodness! She is so hateable. Oh, forgive me. I do hope I haven't insulted anyone. You have insulted everyone in this room, everyone in this country, and our intelligence. And you did it with a smile on your face. You're not sorry at all, lady. Not at all, not at all. It is a delight merely to hear you speak, dear lady. Stop it. And it seems very clear from your testimony that this boorish talk of the victim's burn is utterly irrelevant. I will be speaking to your country's Minister of Justice about what has happened here today. She is unironically using "I want to speak to the manager." The Minister of Justice? May that irritating little bully of a student be given the harshest punishment possible. Amen. Oh! 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 Hmm. Huh? Thanks? Don't thank her, Ryunosuke! Was that a prayer, then? Well, you'll have to forgive the irritation, Miss Brett, and put up with the cross-examination now. I expect you've noticed that this little bully of a student, as you put it, doesn't miss much. I'm sure I don't need to remind you, counsel, that this will be your final cross-examination in this trial. No, I don't think it will be. If you fail to demonstrate any problems with this witness's testimony, I will be ruling on the case immediately. Is that clear? Ooh. So that's how you psych yourself up, huh? Yes, Your Excellency. Then you may proceed with the cross-examination. Okay, unfortunately I have no idea when the poor man burnt his wrist like that. When the waiter brought my steak, the professor and I raised our glasses in a toast. As far as I've heard, the post-mortem report showed no other possible cause of death besides the gunshot.
Yes!
Yes, it's written here in the paperwork. Fatal hemorrhage from ballistic trauma. Yes. Luckily for all of us, a little burn on the wrist isn't going to kill us. And as there was no other signs of trauma on the victim's body to indicate some other cause of death, it can only have been the bullet from your gun that put an end to this innocent man's life. But it doesn't make sense. The burn must have happened straight away, when the plate was first brought to the table by the waiter. Yes, that's true. If it had cooled even slightly, it wouldn't have been able to make a burn like that. And if the victim burnt his wrist on the hot plate as soon as it was brought out from the kitchen, then he must have already been dead by that point.
Objection!
And yet, the fact is that the victim was killed by a gunshot to the chest. Until you're able to show the court evidence to disprove that, this is a complete waste of time. I concur. Prosecutor Ouchie is right. Ah. If there's some other way a man's life can be taken without leaving a trace, please do show me. Okay, let's see. University collar pin, post-mortem report. Dun, dun, dun. Okay, let's press this one. Without leaving a trace. If someone is shot, or strangled, or stabbed, or thrown from a height, however a person's life is taken, there are always telltale traces on the body. Quite right, dear lady. And as our police force has thoroughly examined the body of the deceased, there can be no doubt. Isn't that right, Inspector Hosonaga? As I've said, I always aim for a flawless investigation. There would be physical traces with all those causes of death, that's true. But maybe there's some other way of killing someone that doesn't leave a mark. If, heaven forbid, you doubt me, young man, you're going to have to tell everyone how exactly you think the professor did lose his life. Otherwise, I'm afraid your argument falls rather flat, doesn't it? Oh no, perish the thought, calling such a sweet young lady's innocence into question. On my honor, I, Taketsuchi Ouchi, will cut down any who dared cast such aspersions. A way of killing someone that leaves no trace. We need some evidence to back us up here. Yes, evidence. But we don't have anything that suggests anything else in our court record. But of course, this country's inferior investigative techniques probably wouldn't pick up on it anyway.
Yes!
Inferior? What do you mean by that? In the lands of the Great British Empire, the police store everything found at a crime scene for later examination. But in this country, you investigate once and that's the end of it, isn't that so? Quite right. La Carnival is open for business as usual today, just days after the incident. Exactly. Which means that even if the investigation takes a different direction, vital evidence may be lost. It doesn't even occur to your naive detectives to try to preserve the crime scene. I'm trying to be as tactful about this as I can, you understand? While calling you inferior and all the like. Ha! A killer blow. This lady is as formidable as she is beautiful. Amazing. He's actually admitting our police may be flawed. Perhaps Prosecutor Ouchie is finally starting to see sense. No, Ryunosuke. We have a word for what he's doing. It's not a word I'm going to be using on the stream, though. I very much doubt that. Still, there's something about what Miss Brett just said. There was a moment before when something didn't seem quite right. What do you think, Ryunosuke? I think it's going terribly. No matter how much I press her, I'm not turning up any new information. Yes, as I suspected. She's a tough witness. We need to find a way to break her testimony, or the cross-examination will be over. But that would mean I have to find a way. There must be some clue somewhere to help us find a chink in her armor. Kazuma. What, Ryunosuke? There is one thing I noticed, something that's been bothering me. Bothering you? You mean about Miss Brett? Actually, no. About the person standing next to her. Inspector Hosonaga. The detective? Yes, he seemed to react a little strangely to Miss Brett's last statement. I was wondering if it might be significant, if it might present an opening, maybe. Alright, I have an idea. Try pressing her on that last statement one more time. If you think so, but this time, instead of targeting the woman herself, let's see what we can get out of the detective. Alright then. Wonder what Kazuma's thinking. I'll find out soon enough, I suppose. Once I press Miss Brett on her last statement again. Okay, go to the last statement.
Yes!
Inferior, what do you mean by that? Da-da-da. Da-da-da-da.
Wait.
Yes! There it is again! The detective's reaction is just the same as before. Why? Up until now, the detective has been in the stand with Miss Brett as her interpreter. But things are very different now. For this testimony, the detective is just listening to what the Englishwoman has to say. This could be a golden opportunity. What do you mean? When people are actually testifying, they're usually very careful not to let anything slip. However, when they're listening to someone else speak, you'll find they often let their guard down. You're right. Look at him, he's lost in his own thoughts. It's time to pursue the man and his train of thought. Sorry? Pursue? I'll explain how to do it now, Ryunosuke. It's all to do with the witness marker. What marker? I'm explaining game mechanics, don't worry about it. At the moment, we're focused on Miss Brett, who's the person actually making the current statement. But by moving the marker left and right with A to D, or A and D, you can turn your attention to other people in the stand. While you're looking at the other witnesses, you'll be able to pursue them with space. If you can catch the person at just the right time, you might uncover some new information to pursue. If you ever notice a strange atmosphere amongst the people on the stand, take a good look around. Alright then. So first I should move the marker across with A and D, and focus on the detective. Then pursue him with space and see what's on his mind. Here we go. Exactly. Which means that even if the investigation takes a different direction, vital evidence may be lost.
Excuse me!
Ugh, what's the meaning of this? I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to shock you. He really was lost in his thoughts. Deeply. It looked like you were thinking something just now, Inspector. Perhaps having heard what the lady next to you had to say. If there's something you'd like to say, please share it with the court.
Objection!
What is the meaning of this? It's a delightful Englishwoman who's testifying at the moment. If you can't find fault with her testimony, then the cross-examination should be over immediately. Oh, is that how it works? Absolutely not. Hmm? The detective is on the stand, which makes him a valid witness. Yes, not to mention the fact that he's intimately involved in the case. Inspector Hosonaga. Yes? Do you have something to add in relation to the statement just made by Miss Brett? Well, yes. If you don't mind, I would like to speak. The lady is right. Our country's police practices are not as modern as those used in Great Britain, which is why I, Satoru Hosonaga, always strive to make every investigation I'm involved in flawless. What do you really mean by that? I'll tell you what I mean. I won't have evidence lacking on my watch. I'm not afraid to take everything I can from the scene of the crime. It's preserving evidence, you see. I don't care if they call me a crime scene thief. I'm not ashamed of what I've done. Huh. A crime scene thief? Well, it looks like the lady's remarks touched a nerve there. Take this, for example. Is that... This is the bottle of carbonated water that I took to the victim's table on the day in question. And yes, it's lost all of its fizz, having been opened 3 days ago now. But it was carbonated water. I don't care what anyone says. Yes, there's some left in the bottle, I can see it. One day, our police force will be among the best in the world. The time is coming, I guarantee it. Well, if Gumshoe was anything to go by... Oh, wait, that's, takes place in, totally America. Japanifornia. I can't say I condone the witness's actions, but I do understand the statement. The court will accept the glass bottle of water as evidence. The carbonated water bottle has been entered into the court record. Okay, let's take a look at it. Anything of note? The label is written in a foreign language that I don't recognize. Do you know what it says, Kazuma? I think it's French. This must be very expensive water. Yes, but what does it say? That's what I'm asking. Then go to France and ask. Very helpful. You could just say that you don't know. So this carbonated water was the last drink Dr. Wilson ever had. Looks like there's a little left in the bottle, although it's plain water now. You know, I've been sweating so much, I'm absolutely parched. I'll just have a sip of this to keep me going. No, Ryunosuke, you can't do that. For one thing, that's evidence. You can't go drinking evidence. Oh no, you're right. We don't know what might be inside, do we? You never cease to amaze me, Ryunosuke. In more ways than one. I wonder... Would there be anything in this water? What's the matter? You've gone quiet all of a sudden. I think I might have just worked something out. An interesting possibility. Hmm? Miss Brett, can you confirm this is indeed the bottle from which you drank on the day of the victim's death? Yes, it was that bottle. I want to take a look at people. Okay, medical school. Professor of medicine, yeah. What was that about? She seemed to avert her eyes when she answered the judge's question. Very well. Counsel, you may resume the cross-examination. And the inspector will kindly control his fervor. Unfortunately, I have no idea when the poor man burnt his wrist like that. Let's see, the post-mortem report showed no other possible cause of death besides a gunshot. If there's some other way a man's life can be taken without leaving a trace, please do show me. Well, I think we need, some... Let's, can we go back? Only lets us go forward. That's strange. Oh, it was all thanks to you noticing that the detective had reacted strangely to what that lady said. I never guessed he had all that bubbling away under the surface. To be honest, you keep surprising me at every turn. Sorry? Oh, never mind. So we know that Dr. Wilson was killed at around the time the steak was brought to the table, by some means that left no physical trace on his body. If we could just demonstrate how it was done. Well, I do have one idea about that, about how the professor was killed. Maybe I should just present the evidence and see what happens? Okay...
Yes!
Well, oh, that was the right thing to do? Awesome. What is this? The bottle of water? Actually, there is one method of killing a man without leaving a trace that comes to mind. Obviously, I'm referring to poison. Poison? On the day of his death, we know that Dr. Wilson drank from this bottle of carbonated water. Could it be that there was poison inside? Could it be that the professor actually died after taking a sip from his glass? Order! 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 And on that day, who was sitting at the same table as the professor and able to slip the poison into his drink? There's only one person who could possibly have done it. Giselle Brett, it was you!
Objection!
This is outrageous, to suggest such a thing without a scrap of evidence. You little rookie imbecile, have you not even considered the delicate situation our country finds itself in now? Have you forgotten that we have only just signed an accord of friendship with the British Empire? Would you stop talking about it? My goodness. Have you even the vaguest inkling that your rash accusations could jeopardize the entire treaty? Like we said earlier, if the treaty is so fragile as to be broken by a frickin' murder trial, then it wasn't a very good treaty to begin with.
Objection!
This is not a political arena. This is a trial to determine one's individual guilt with respect to one crime. What? The fact that this woman is British makes no difference. We are here to determine the truth. If I may, I will silence you forever for this. Oh! It's you who should be silent. Of course. Dear lady! Where did that come from? She just snapped. I'm afraid I may have spoken unfairly before. I offer my most humble apologies. I'm sorry, my lady. To what are you referring? I described your police force as inferior. But no matter how inferior they may be, you still investigated this particular point thoroughly, I believe. The bottle, I mean, Inspector. And whether it contained poison or not. Of course. Frick. You did? Have you forgotten what my guiding principle is already? I strive for a flawless investigation every time. I don't believe it. Naturally, we tested the inside of the bottle and its contents. And? What did you find, Inspector? Well, if we had actually found any poison, then, we would have brought it up by now, wouldn't we? I ordered tests for every toxin that's available in this country at the present time. We could find no trace of poison of any description in the bottle of carbonated water, Your Excellency. What? Are you sure? The tests were meticulously carried out by the Chief Coroner himself. No. No! Well, there goes that lead. I'm very grateful to all you Japanese. You've successfully established my complete innocence in this horrid affair. Thank you. But of course, dear lady, the pleasure was all ours. You did not do a single thing to help me. I was so sure. This can't be right. Everything falls into place if he was poisoned. Thank you, Counsel. I think that cross-examination has clarified everything. As the prosecution have asserted, a shot to the chest from the gun is the only conceivable cause of death. Furthermore, the accused, who by his own admission was holding the weapon, is the only possible culprit. I'm done for. The court wishes to apologize for the great inconvenience this has caused you, Miss Brett. Oh no. I'm just glad the matter is resolved. Before proceeding, I must ask the counsel for the defense. Do you have any further new evidence to present the court at this point? Kazuma? I'm sorry, Ryunosuke. I have nothing more. Well, if you'll excuse me now, I really must be leaving.
Hold it!
Hmm? Please, wait! Isn't that... What is the meaning of this? Forgive me for intruding on court proceedings, Your Excellency. Susato Mikotoba, Judicial Assistant to the Defense. Mikotoba? In my darkest hour, with nowhere left to go, she appeared like a bolt of lightning. And in her hand, she carried a small package wrapped in a furoshiki cloth. Cloth. Cloth? What? Words. To be continued. Unfortunately, we will have to continue this next time. But thank you all for joining me. If you'd like to help build a community, my Discord server is in my About. I would love to see you there. You can also follow me on Twitter at the RPG Dragon. Now, before we go, let us find someone to raid. Okay. Let's take a look in on Marsh. Oh. So until next time, this has been the R Dragon, and I look forward to welcoming you back to the den. Farewell.